Morning.
We are live. Hey, everybody, come on in.
Morning.
The chat is open if you want to talk. If you don't want to talk, that's entirely up to you, but come on in. Welcome all of our radio listeners this morning. Hopefully we are on the radio this morning on Indie Volt Radio. Varian is not with us yet this morning. I'm not sure if he will be. He's probably sleeping in, doing the smart thing.
He was acting up last night, so.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he was being cheeky on Pop's thing yesterday.
How cheeky is cheeky?
We were supposed to do backer shots, and the whole thing got like thrown off the rails because he had to bring up some letters from Indie Volt.
Okay.
That kind of grinded my gears. So we all got distracted.
They were grinding your gears. Oh, some Indie Volt questions?
Yeah.
No questions here today, folks. Come on in. Talk to us in the chat, folks. We see you. We see you're out there. Come on in, have a seat. Nobody wants to stand in the hall anyway.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me. Something I have to grab because I want to.
That's fine. While you're gone, we're going to run the opening.
Okay, go for yours.
We're going to run the opening, folks. Here we go.
You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred.
Good morning. Good morning. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred.
Yeah, that seems to be that just seems to be what we do in general.
It's Sunday morning where we are. It's probably afternoon where you are, and we're glad that you're here. So we're here to talk comics and funny books and related nonsense. Everyone's welcome to join in. If you want, anybody who's a member of the Indie Volt family is welcome to send me a request for a link, and I will send one out to you. We might be joined here in a few minutes by a few guests, and maybe not. We'll see who shows up. So if not, we'll just make stuff up until they get here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a plan. Not much of one, but it's something.
I was going to say, it sounds like every episode of Subday Funnies. So, except for when we get that rare scheduled guest, which I've been working on. I just haven't gotten anybody lined up yet. So welcome to the Subday Funnies. We are here to put the fun back in funny books. We want to talk positively and about comics, the comics that we love and the comics we love to laugh at. Bringing you the artists that you love to laugh at. So I'm your host.
Hopefully laugh with.
There we go. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime independent and alternative comics producer, publisher, freelancer. I've done just about everything in this industry that you can imagine, including coordinate conventions for over a decade and retail for over a decade. I've done just about all of it. Distributed, ran my own newspaper for a decade. There's been a lot of stuff, done a lot of things. So I'm here now as part of the Indie Volt Radio Network. Varian might join us here in a minute, depending upon if he wants to, if he's just working behind the scenes or not. Varian, I see you in the green room. He's eating all the Cheetos again.
Breakfast of champions.
There are no Girl Scout cookies left in the refrigerator, Varian. Do not check.
No. Sorry.
Don't check.
I can't I can't help myself. They were all Thin Mints.
They're all gone.
They're all gone. And the peanut butter ones.
It is the boy.
Also joining me this morning is Daphne's parrot in the background.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm in the office, so we're all gonna suffer today.
Daphne, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York, and obviously avid bird owner. Thank you.
That's a
I
new
have
one.
been, yeah, I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy Tall Tales, which we're currently packing up and getting those Kickstarters out for this volume. And I'm also known for my other book, which is currently on Kickstarter, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, where issues 1 and 2 is in its final 2 to 3 days on Kickstarter. And I'm trying to break a $4,000 stretch goal where everyone will get a gold metallic
Oh,
bookmark.
look at that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. The
Even the
fanfare.
parrot loves it. Yeah.
Treasure.
That.
Yeah.
Treasure.
Yeah, it's I thought and thought of Russ with every line I put
Booby
into
corns.
yes, exactly.
Booby corn. Yeah.
So it will be a gold medal bookmark that unlocks at $4,000. So
Awesome.
everybody, all the physical backers will get a metal bookmark. So I'm trying to I'm feeling optimistic. So let's see if we can get to 4K on that Kickstarter.
Cool.
You can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can also find a link to my YouTube channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art.
And once again, for our radio listeners out there, if you hear a beeping or a buzzing noise or even a whistling noise that may remind you of your smoke detector, that is actually Daphne's parrot.
Yes, so it is. Yeah.
Your house is probably not on fire.
Yes, exactly.
If you smell smoke, really be worried. There you go. Varian, are you awake yet?
I am. I'm awake.
Barely.
I'm awake.
My son said, "Hey, are you doing Sunday Funnies today?" Because he knows the name of all the shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, it's 7:20. You might want to get up." And I said, "Okay." And I said, 7:20? Don't ever come in my room again. And she'll start at 9.
All right. Yeah. Don't wake me up until 8:55.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
8:55. Varian, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Varian Grant. I really need to get a soundboard for this. The button. My name is Varian Grant. I am the owner and founder of Indie World Media LLC. Been making comics since 2008. I am a comic book creator, publisher, father, husband, geek, gamer, all those things, and reluctant taxpayer. Yeah, that's me. That's it. That's all I do. Oh yeah, and I own Liberty Entertainment Distribution Group, which got a nice buyout offer. Didn't take it. Had to leave it on the table.
Oh.
Had to leave it on the table.
Yeah, had to leave the offer on the table. $4,500 I was offered.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Wow.
$4,500 I was offered.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
I still tell them you need to write them back and tell them, well, when you added a couple more zeros, maybe we'll talk.
Exactly.
You know you're on the way up when people start offering you money for your company.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, especially in the thousands. Yeah.
Well, it was. I really think they're after the domain names because I own a couple other domain names that go back. They go to Liberty, and I got those bad boys locked in. But you got to remember, I was buying these domain names 5 years ago, before, or maybe closer to 6 years ago now, I guess. Back before anybody was thinking about, any of this stuff that's happening now. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a futurist. I'm an entrepreneurial futurist.
So just so everybody knows, what is the selling price for whenweriot.com?
$1 million.
I could take conservatively. I can take about 200 million for that. Conservatively, I'm not looking to get rich on that one.
Okay, understood.
And a bag of sherbet.
Yeah, that would work too. Yeah, sure. Toss that in.
And one shopping bag of gasoline. I'll take that too.
That's how much gasoline's going to cost in 4 years' time.
Yep. Thanks, Bo. Anyway. Also joining us today, this afternoon for him,
Yes.
is Mr. Russ Leach. Russ, introduce yourself.
Hello. Yes. My name's Russ Leach. I'm a comic book artist. Out in the wilderness for many years, but returning in 2010. And since then, I have done nothing but draw comics. Some of them been good, some of them not so good. I've worked for people like Marvel, BBC, Doctor Who, Cartoon Network, that kind of stuff. And now I'm making my own books. Go buy it. It's in demand. Only Death Can Save Us. It's like the good old Bronze Age books. Fun, action, sci-fi adventure. That will be closing out in demand on 2nd of July. So go get yourself a book now. If you don't manage to get one of those books, you will be able to see it redistributed by Arrow Comics in August. Really looking forward to seeing that in floppy format. And if you want to find out more about me, you can go to russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com, or onlydeathcansaveus.com. There is a link there to the in-demand store.
And that book will be available in August from Arrow Comics through Liberty Distribution.
Yeah.
So
with extra content, I might say. So
phenomenal extra content. Holy crap.
Thank you.
I've read that story. It's really good.
I actually saw something. I didn't realize what I'd done, actually. Somebody posted something. It was like an appendix kind of page by Jack Kirby for the New Gods. And I'd not seen it. And I'm effectively doing the same stuff. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't ripped it from him. I'm not saying I'm Jack Kirby. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. Jack Kirby is a genius. I am not. But he obviously had that sort of, because of the way that he's building worlds, and I've obviously keyed into that somehow because I'm doing the same kind of stuff. I'm like bunging all this extra world building stuff in. It's incredibly enjoyable. You can see why Jack wanted to do it. If only somebody would pay me a lot of money just to sit here and dream shit up. It would be great.
No, don't worry. They won't pay Jack a lot of money to do it either.
No,
there you go.
I know. He's not on his own, is he?
I just want to note this morning, Travis Gibb being cruel. I like how this is called Sub Day. I would like a sub. Picking on my early morning lack of typing ability skills.
Oh, well.
Thanks, Travis.
Delicious subs.
Delicious subs, yes.
Subs.
So this is the Subday Funnies for the end of May.
It would have been great if you
May 30th, 21.
No,
How did that happen?
I'm still in last year.
We're all here in Michigan. We're all still in lockdown. We don't know what you're talking about. 50% capacity, I think, and you still have to wear your mask, feed bag, whatever. Anyway, COPD inducer.
I had my son did a report this week.
He did. That was awesome.
Yeah, and he had to dress as the character.
Did you video it?
Yeah. He had to record it for her on the class and the thing. Yeah, she's got to. She's gonna send it to all the students.
Any chance we can play that?
Yeah, when I get him, I'll definitely put it back up so you guys can see it. But he just kind of read a script. He doesn't have an acting bone in his body, but some of the kids were really, really awesome.
Are they?
Well,
now don't discount your child here. He did a really awesome thing. He looked really cool.
Yeah, he did. He pulled off the look. He just didn't. He just he ran from the script
Well,
I'm staying.
How old is he? Come on,
10. He's 10.
Takes a while.
Some of those kids, man, they did really good. Like one little girl, she wasn't on screen at all. She was reading because she was Amelia Earhart.
Oh, okay.
So she wasn't on screen at all, and I was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I get it. She's not there. She's, Amelia Earhart. I get it. She's missing. It's awesome. I mean, it's sad for Amelia. It's horrible for Amelia, but this little girl, how genius. There was other kids. One kid did one kid was the Queen of England. She was Elizabeth, and she did the accent and everything, very horribly, but it was cute. It was cute, and they added humor and digs in. Like, because the teacher let them. The teacher said, you know, you're gonna do your report. You know, but it's not gonna be that you're gonna give me a speech, but it's not gonna be your report. Because I tried to get my son to say, you know, I made a lot of money by signing my name to all Jack's books, but he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He was like, no. But it was a good report. I'm pretty sure he got an A, and his costume looked good. You know, his sweater, all the other stuff. He was happy to take it all off too when it was over. Very happy to take it off.
So did all the kids in the class know who Stan Lee was?
Most did because of the cameos. You know, Caden was a little chocolate Stan Lee. He's a little, you know, he didn't even say Excelsior loud. He just Excelsior. No,
Excelsior.
He's not, you know. I mean, it's like in spite of the media empire that you run, it doesn't mean your kids are YouTube, you know, mini YouTube celebrities. You know? They're not used to that. He's not, which is probably for the best.
He has no interest. Like he did tell me he would like to stream himself playing with Beyblades. He'd like to do that. I'm like, no one wants to watch that, but sure shit. There are YouTube channels dedicated to Beyblade.
Somebody will want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's YouTube channels to everything.
Yeah. Sadly. Yeah. By the way, very educational episode of Backer Shots last night.
To say the least.
Yeah, very educational. If you missed that on, it was a part of CrimeCon. Backer Shots. It was very educational.
Yeah.
Daphne was attacked yet again.
Yes,
releasing that Lage Rage.
Yeah.
That's the
hashtag. That's the new hashtag.
That's your new hashtag. Yeah, Lage Rage.
The Lage Rage.
You know, it's funny. JD actually tried looking for this person on Twitch, and I am now convinced that this is a child.
Yeah,
so
probably.
a literal child. So it's like, you know, so if you get any more letters from this person, I'm refusing to engage. I do not argue with literal children on the internet.
Is this Courtney again?
Yes.
Yeah, I had an idea that it might not be a female at all.
No, the verbiage that was, especially the letter that you kind of read last night, the verbiage was, this was
never assume a person's writing level.
Right.
Never.
No,
never underestimate stupid.
Yeah, the way they worded the letter and everything, it's like, no, this is this is a female child.
I think that Courtney's been writing in quite often.
Never estimate gender either.
To the ladies of Geekgasm, and she's been very upset. She's been very upset because she thinks the ladies are problematic, which is probably a word she just learned to use.
Yes, that's what I think so too. That's why I'm.
I bet it's regular in her vocabulary.
Oh yeah, but she doesn't know how to use it because she's using it because you know, problematic has an actual definition to it, and it means an actual problem, an actual physical problem that needs to be solved. You know, it doesn't mean you're uncomfortable with something. That's not the definition of the word, but that's how she was using it. You know, so that's yeah. So the letter, especially last night, was very, very, this is the crap that I see on Twitter. So that's why I'm completely sus now.
I'm sure the next dictionary will change that definition.
Right.
Just
I don't know, because so far it's
public usage.
Well, I don't know, because actually there's a lot of different. It's kind of like the word hack.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has a different definition, so you never really quite know what exactly people mean when they say it.
Yeah, because even though you're right. Because someone says you're a hack, then it's like it's an insult. But then they say, "Oh, the guy can't hack it."
Right. Exactly. So it's like, right. So is it positive? Is it negative? Which is it? You know.
That's a very English thing to say. You can't hack it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if it's a website and you hack it, well, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Unless you're working for the government.
Only if you're caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get caught.
Yes.
Mike Jimmy is reminding us of our alphabet this morning. He says, "I."
Yeah. Hey.
That could be.
Hey, or I. Feel
Oh,
free to
he's
send
up.
me a link. Oh, hey,
There we
Mike
go.
Jimmy, I just saw that. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find you here.
There
If
you
I
go.
can find you on my link or on my Facebook this morning, I will happily send you a link, Mike.
Oh yeah. So Courtney is a literal child
Well,
that I will refuse to engage with from now on.
She
Well,
took.
I don't know. Is she like is she like Greta or what?
I thought.
I don't know.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
And big tits.
Calm down, Courtney. And calm down, Courtney. Yeah, that's literally the letter. That was literally the letter.
Last night's letter said, email said, "You ladies," in quotation marks.
You ladies.
In quotation
Hey,
marks.
ladies.
Yeah. Don't get it. When you get drunk on air to sell books, when you draw your quote unquote children nude or in cheesecake
That was the
poses,
thing that got me.
Wow,
It's like, what the hell? It's like
wow.
straight up, which is also another reason why I think I think she's a child,
Wow,
because like
she's
straight
accusing
out
you.
the gate she's accusing us of child pornography.
Yeah, that's not good.
You know, and it's like, oh honey, I don't know what streams you're watching.
she says, when you draw them in nude or cheesecake poses, you disservice us all.
It's like, look, just because your mom doesn't say that she loves you doesn't mean all of a sudden it's our business to raise you.
She takes all of this as body shaming, though.
She says shoe cams, Lola. Boobs,
Yeah.
Lola. Heavy makeup and a sour attitude, Nita. And Meredith, who should be the den mother, allowing all the nonsense. You aren't helping ladies in comics. You constantly create and add to the problem, making you all problematic and in need of removal.
Yeah, well, yeah, in
Removal.
need of removal.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the little pure tween Nazi is telling us we need to be removed.
She's now one of Hitler's children, is she?
Yeah,
right.
it's like that's why I thought this is a child. This
Removal.
is a child. She's learning this vocabulary on Twitter, and now it's like she thinks that she knows something because she's using it in a sentence inappropriately.
Wow.
You know, so yeah.
I mean, I have a skin tag in need of removal.
Right, exactly.
Anyone's interested in helping me with that?
Yeah, so,
Mike Jimmy, send me a PM on Facebook so I can send you a link, buddy. I'm not finding you, but I'm half awake, so.
Well, we all are. We all are. So.
Yeah.
Teenage common drunken artist. So yeah, there's some art coming, I believe.
Yeah, no, it was a whole thing. It was just Meredith did some fan art, and it was just really, really funny.
Yeah. We decided Daphne decided that Meredith was Splinter.
Yeah, no, it was
Morning
Imperium. It was Nita, I think.
Nita, okay,
yeah. Because I think I'm supposed to be Michelangelo. I don't know who's the leader of the turtles. You know?
Jimmy says, Courtney says, "I big now. I use big word."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gnarly, dude.
Russ, if someone were to come to you and say, "Russ, you're problematic. You're in need of removal," well, how do you take that? Is that a threat?
No, that's a direct threat. Yes, that is a direct threat.
You can always. I'll give you my address. You can come around. You can speak to me directly if you want.
Yeah, you know.
You can come around, knock on my door. I'll have a chat with you face to face. Anybody, come find me.
You know, that's why JD was looking for her on Twitch.
Say it with an accent. I'll be happy to provide the email address, by the way, Daphne.
No, I don't need to.
Okay.
I don't argue with children.
All these people that are loudmouth on the internet, they're cowards.
Yeah, they are.
They have no real character, so I just ignore them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little attention whoring too when she's calling for removal.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like,
what is she going to do? Lead the band or what? Come on.
Cancel culture.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're now joined by Mike Jimmy.
It was also working.
Speaking of removal,
working here.
Mike's here.
Where's your beard?
Where's my beard?
Yeah.
Well, it decided to migrate, and it all went here and up there.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
wow. These are cool.
It's called hygiene variant.
That's very Shakespeare, isn't it? That's very. You now look like a bard. That's good.
There you go. But isn't that what we all are? It's like we're telling stories and sharing, you know, the world.
I get paid to draw people in tights. It's great.
There you go. Yeah.
Mike, Jimmy, introduce yourself.
I'm Mike Jimmy de Bruin of Fairies and Ants. I am drawing the series Live on Korra, and with my publishing company, we are slowly expanding our library even further with a couple of new series coming up and just enjoying what we do.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, really.
What
Which I
it's
think
about.
puts us ahead of a lot of mainstream people. We actually enjoy what we do.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Earlier, Mike said that buyout attempt is almost as entitled as the guy who wanted you to pay him to be on your show.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, it reminds me of when someone tried, a publisher tried to buy out Oswald from JD, and he offered him $1,500 for worldwide rights.
Woof!
Wow.
I mean, it's like, it's like, wow, it's like you really think we just came out of the gate here, didn't you? You know, and then the guy died in a car accident a month later.
Oh, don't laugh too much, man. That was a great cackle.
I love the cackle. It's like,
and he died in a car crash.
That's fucking dark.
Cool. That's how the story goes.
Yeah, Agent Smith on.
You know, has anyone ever actually cackled like you cackle?
I keep getting told I do that all the time. So
because you knew you were doing something villainous. Like
that's kind of how I laugh.
Yeah, because I cackled out of villainy. Like, you know, I've done stuff like, I don't know, like rip the tag off of a mattress and then fuckers. You know, I've done that.
No.
Joe's around this morning. Good morning, Joe.
I've done it when executives were fired.
Morning,
Hey, Joe.
Good morning.
All right, Dave. All right, me babbers.
All right, me babbers.
It's funny.
Critical Blast in the house already subbed. But if you haven't, you should.
Yes, you
We're still working on that monetization thing.
Yeah, executives get fired at cackle.
Cameron, good morning.
They're ruining my fandom.
Oh yeah. Aren't we all?
Get out of my town.
Are we on the radio this morning, Varian?
I can check. Hold on. I didn't.
Can you wind that up and hit the go button?
I have to go on the roof and fire off the generators, man.
There we are. The parrot's winding it up for you.
Oh no, that's actually not him. That was someone else. That's actually someone else. Yeah, there you go.
I was trying to communicate with the parrot.
Oh no! I don't have the speakers on, so he doesn't hear. Yeah, no, or else I'll get echo. I'll get feedback without the headphones. So
Rustolian says, "Hey, look, Mike's on another stream."
There you go.
I know. There's no escape.
Yeah,
No
you're
escape.
on everything.
Mike is omnipresent.
Yeah, he's yeah, that's not a lie, because I was doing a stream and I checked Facebook and I was scrolling through Facebook and I see Mike, who's in our chat, but he's in another stream, and I'm like, how is this is he, what the hell am I
he has that setup from Batman, you know, with all the screens. With all the
It's not that bad. It's just a really messy desk with 2 screens only. It's not that bad.
I thought I was bad. I believe Mike has the whole like setup, I think, because the wife.
No,
I've joked with the wife about adding a 4th screen.
Oh, brother!
And she's like, a 4th screen. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, for what? I'm like, so I can. She's like, no, you don't need a 4th screen. All right, cool.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I wanted a 4th screen. And that is an arm. There's an arm here that I hidden behind one of the screens for nothing. It doesn't have any monitor on it.
It's because if he can't feel like Ozymandias, how can he feel?
Yeah,
exactly.
So being that this is Subday Funnies, Randy, I have a question for you.
You're going to start steering the conversation away from comics?
No, I'm thinking I'm going to jam it right up in the comics' urethra.
Oh boy.
Check this out. Yeah. Check this out.
We do need to remind people we are TVMA DLSV, where the V stands for variant.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been reading Do 1001 Comics, yo. It's a book I got from Second and Charles. It's a very thick book. 1001 Comics you have to read before you die.
Oh,
and
okay.
I said, well, hell, I'm 39 and black. That could be next year. Between FEMA and pork chops, I don't know what's going to get me. But,
oh boy.
I'm reading this book. And Randy, what would you think be the number one book that a person must read before they die, in your opinion?
Wow. The number one comic?
Yeah.
Comic. Right.
Ooh.
That's a difficult question. It's very subjective also. Number one comic to read before you die.
The Song of Red Sonja.
Out of all of the kids, there you go. Out of all of the comics in the world.
Yep.
In the world. Yeah.
Did you know of at least?
That I know of? I could not tell you. V for Vendetta stands out as a favorite. Watchmen, of course, that's an easy one. Mouse, perhaps, probably. I would probably lean back to A Contract with God by Eisner.
Is that right? Okay, all right. Now,
they're going to list something silly, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, to their credit, there's a bunch of stuff in here that I do not know. And I'm going to look it up because
comes from the guy who a year ago asked who Wally Wood was. I think there's a lot of things you don't know.
Well, like there's a book in here called "We Are on Our Own." My boy, Miss Don't Touch Me. Mouse Guard is in here.
Okay, or at least, but the first two, I'm like, wait, what? Maybe you should be on screen showing this.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're supposed to be Sunday funny. Some of that stuff doesn't sound very fun. Mouse Guard, on the other hand, is a book that's of incredible quality. Though I don't know if it beats out like Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
You know, there's a number of other works that I would consider more important than Mouse Guard. Sorry, David. But you are welcome on the show at any time.
Okay, so who's the, I guess, like the editor of this book?
Well, that was the thing. The interesting thing about this book, it was as a general editor of Paul Gravatt. But that's it. There's not like an author title. The forward is by Terry Gilliam.
Okay.
Which is okay because he's a big comic fan, or he was a big comic fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, because it's like, you know, what's the standard for like because like we could all put together a list and it would all probably be different with maybe very little overlap. You know?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff out there that folks feel are a critical success that I personally consider to be absolute garbage.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey.
What book?
He had a frog in his throat.
I did.
Okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. The number one book though that I think you must read before you leave.
Please don't be Killing Joe.
No.
Oh my God!
Is a book that I've never seen. Here it is. So I'll put it on screen here for you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because hold on.
Rabibi.
No, because if you do, hold on.
Craig Thompson.
Something.
Really?
I know Craig Thompson. He goes in $20. Probably not the same Craig Thompson though.
Probably not. Well, you never know. No, he did the number one comic.
That's another one. Okay, I'm confusing it with another book, but it's like really that's the number one book.
That's a horribly suggestive book. There's subjective list.
Well, yeah,
that's very subjective.
Yeah, it's extremely subjective because it's like, you know, because I confused it with Persepolis, which was the book that pretty much killed all my interest in mainstream, even though technically it's not a mainstream book, but the hype that the book was getting in the mainstream comic book press, it's like I read it and I was so furious that it's like, you know what, I'm not taking like anything that these people say seriously anymore. I can't.
Now were you furious because of the quality of the work, because of the ability of the work, because of the lack of skill of the artist?
What?
Or subject matter, or what struck you as that made you furious about that work?
It's like the comics media at the time was talking about how this was like a brilliant book.
Yes, yep, I remember that.
And it's about it's about, I guess, like a cartoonist growing up, in Iran. I forgot during what time period.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it was, so I picked it up because of all the praise it was getting. And then I read it, and all it is it's like, it's just this slice of life shit that I hate so much, where it's like pretty much the whole point of the book is that you learn that Iranians are just as boring as Americans.
Okay.
It's like this privileged little shit who just happened, to grow up in the middle of an historic event. And then it's like, oh yeah, she gets shipped off to France. And then it's like, oh, she's just living her life. And I go, really? This is supposed to be a compelling story for me?
It's kind of like the Oscars. Whenever you get that the best film you never heard of, it, like, let me go check it out. And
right.
You watching it, like, the hell was that?
And it's like, and it really showed to me that the bar in comics is so low that anything that shows any bit of, I don't know, being something slightly different is hailed as a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you know what? I can't take you guys seriously anymore.
I got Persepolis, and because it was the comic store I was going to.
I thought you were going to say you got Persepolis, but the doctor gave me some antibiotics. Now you're a lot better.
Yeah.
I got it, but I don't know who I got it off.
I got it. No, the comic store. The comic store that I was going to at the time was very progressive. And they because they didn't won awards, they went heavy. They had it, they had like 20, 30 copies of it.
Oh yeah.
And they were telling me, you need to read this book. You need to read it. And
push.
I dropped the money on it. I took it home. I read it.
Push.
Felt indifferent about it. And then about 2 years later, young lady I was dating was like, I bought you one of those comic book movie. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, here. And I opened and I'm like, oh, it's Persepolis, the movie. Wow. It's animated too. This is gonna be great to get through. This is gonna be a slug to get through. You guys will be happy to know that A Contract with God is right after, right before Omaha the Cat Dancer.
Oh, okay.
What's the number though? What number do they assign it?
So it would be.
At least Omaha. I mean, I'm a little surprised Omaha is in there, but okay, all right.
Omaha's a good work though.
Omaha
it deserves to be in there. Wow.
Okay.
I'll
give him points for putting Omaha in there.
I hope they go through and make a point that none of these are in order.
I'm not. I don't think they do really, but they I think it might be implied that it's not in order because at 389 is the Phoenix Saga.
Okay. I'm not good with anybody telling me I have to read a book. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
these are the books you have to read before you die. No.
Yeah, it's like what Daphne was saying about Persepolis. When American Splendor first came out, it was the same kind of hype. This is cutting edge. This is phenomenal. Right. And you sit down and you read it. I read it as a kid, and I went, "This is the most boring shit I've ever read in my life."
Right.
Not realizing or grasping the fact that it's supposed to be the most boring shit you've ever read in your life.
Right, but okay. So congrats. They made really boring media. I mean, okay, if that's your goal, But I mean, it's like, don't try to sell it to me like it's I don't know, better than wheat toast or something.
Manna from heaven. Oh.
I understand. I understand and appreciate that comics are for everyone and should have every kind of comic. I thoroughly support.
Yeah.
But you know what? I like superhero comics and science fiction comics and big explosions and aliens. So I'm not going to be interested in any of that.
There you go.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have likes and dislikes.
Right, exactly. But
Just
yeah,
because one person thinks something is objectively good, I know plenty of people that hate Lord of the Rings.
right,
And they're not wrong because it's right for them.
right.
They
And mind you, and mind you, it's like the second people start talking about The Dark Knight and Watchmen, my ears shut off like a cocker spaniel in the water.
Yep.
It's like, it's like, yeah, don't talk to me about those comics.
Well,
It's
you
like I thought they were incredibly stupid.
I enjoyed them for what they are. I don't know that they're the literary greats that everyone suggests they
Right,
are.
yeah, exactly.
I think that they get a bit of a rough ride from certain circles, certainly from circles that I circulate in. It's the fact that they sort of started the trend of deconstruction, and it's not their fault. It's the execs afterwards that just thought, right, this is a great way to have comics. This is what comics are all about now.
Yeah.
Manga Batman, really?
That manga.
Yeah. I see. Like I saw an anime Batman. He went back in time or something.
The samurai one.
And that was as an Elseworlds thing.
Yeah,
that was great. I really enjoyed it as a one-off, but I wouldn't want to see that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the typical, executives completely misinterpreting what makes a work popular. Where it's like when Deadpool come out, the whole thing was like, oh, rated R superhero movies, and it's like, no, Deadpool was entertaining, you hacks.
Yeah. The fact that he talked about butt plugs and other stuff made no difference.
Yeah.
It was the fact that it was entertaining.
Right.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds was entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but not for nothing though. I mean, it's like I feel the same way about like what like regular books, prose books are considered like literary genius. Like don't talk to me about Catcher in the Rye. Really, it's like I will murder you with that book. I mean, it's like I hate that book so much, and I don't understand why people think it's some kind of like brilliant. It's just a dude bitching the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it got John Lennon murdered. So
if anything's gonna hack off Daphne, it's a dude bitching.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like it's like what are you complaining about, you dumb whatever?
Yeah.
It's like,
teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn now. I'm frightened. I'm cold. Where are my slippers?
Now, it's like, but mind you, though, it's like because it's like I found Fight Club to be incredibly entertaining, and technically, it's just guys bitching in there too. So maybe it depends on how guys are bitching.
Because I found all that stuff slow. I just enjoyed the fights.
Can I?
I'm talking about the book, though. Yeah.
Oh,
can I display my? May I display and put on display my 8 years of private school education real quick? Is what just in reading only. When it comes to this Bat manga, and this is Randy will laugh about this because he said this before about the mainstream.
Oh no.
So it's not that odd to see Batman assisted by his sidekick Robin fighting pterodactyls or facing down a villain named Deathman. But Japanese conventions make themselves felt. Some pages are drawn in color, others in black and white. Humorous commentary runs down the margins. Extensive wordless sequences effortlessly serve not only fights, but also plot advancement. Then there is the habit of characters changing depending on their emotions, often to an extreme that looks cartoon-like. Not to mention the artist himself appearing in the comic and speaking directly to the readers. That the manga in 2008 became available in English owns much to Chip Kidd, a top U.S. book designer renowned for his Batman interests. Kidd's pursuit of the Holy Grail Bat manga, as it was retitled, makes for an adventure unto itself, involving eBay, fraud, missed opportunities, and corporate amnesia. When Kidd approached DC Comics for republication permission, no one at the company recalled it ever having existed.
Yeah.
Like, and what? Randy, we own that?
Exactly.
They also say, I think I had to steal this, by the way, Randy. They also say here that where is it? The Japan, the planet's most comics literate society.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
And it has been for decades.
Let's steal it.
Oh yeah.
But all of this is down to cultural acceptance of comics.
Yeah.
You know, you had a problem in the States. In the UK, it's very, very much a snobbish thing. It's not a proper art form. Whereas on the continent, you know, Italy, Spain, Belgium, France, you know, they're taken seriously as a proper art form.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, out in the Far East and Japan and what have you. And it's a cultural thing.
You know, and not only that, it's like you can get such a plethora of topics and just like different types of work.
There you go.
Like, yeah, you can find anything.
There you go.
Yeah, well, in the same way that you have this sort of snobbery, comics were forced into this kind of the mythos of superheroes, and people only thought of comics and superheroes,
right? Yeah,
which is terrible, and because of that, it meant that it was looked down upon.
Yeah.
Whereas when you've got the widest acceptance across the culture of comics, superhero mythos and science fiction and silliness can exist in its own environment.
Exactly.
And nobody puts it down because it's part of a larger acceptance of comics.
Yeah. You know, to be able to walk into a comic book shop in the middle of France and in the middle of Paris and being able to find, like, right off the bat, books that like completely caught my attention, that was like part of my, you know, this is the categories that I love wheelhouse, without having to dig through, you know, all these superhero wannabe books and it's like Batman but different type of books, to even like realize, you know, they're not making the books that I mean, it's like, look, no one in the United States is making a book about Roman chariot racing.
No. I picked this one up 2 days ago. Like, I literally walked into a bookstore, not a comic store, and picked up an homage to the Lucky Luke comics, and I'm not disappointed.
Right?
You know? Yeah. Like, it's in Dutch, so I can't send it off to you. Sorry, but
not that it would, you know, not that it would bother me.
I only look at the pictures anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are pretty pictures for them.
So Lucky Luke, that's a comedy western.
Yes, but this is a little more serious and got a little more of the American comic style, bit more, but like it works.
Yeah,
it's still it was still a wonderful read, you know, and. That's in a fucking normal bookstore, not even a comic book store.
Yeah.
Critical Blast said Bethany can watch the dudes bitching if they're really bitching dudes. I said her name right. My phone doesn't know the name. Place that I'm driving. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're saying Courtney, and the phone was like Bethany.
Probably he means maybe he means Daphne. Maybe his
yeah.
I can watch dudes bitching.
I said her name right. My phone doesn't know the name and replace.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Look, as long as it doesn't like something like Jessica come. I've had people call me Jessica. It's like, where the hell did you get Jessica from?
What?
Like,
Critical Blast says Japan took the idea of comics and went full Rule 34 with it. Critical Blast, those go back to the early tapestries where you had words and pictures start combining together. There, it's not serendipity. I'm not quite sure exactly the word for
Kismet.
it. Kismet maybe, but we developed the art form of comics around the same time that it started clicking for the Japanese to put words and pictures together, because their written word is all symbols anyway. So it was a natural progression for them to add that to a full-fledged picture and to start showing sequentials.
Well, also Rule 34 is a reference to the idea that anything that exists has a pornographic alternative on.
Yeah.
There's
I've seen it in hentai.
Oh yeah. You know, I remember when I first heard about was it Rule 34? I think I was in high school, and I said, no, it can't be. And I looked it up and everything. And every time I typed it up, something came up. I mean, and there was,
we have a clip about that.
Yeah, I knew
exactly.
There you go, Trico.
I knew that it was true when I looked up. Like I just took anything. Like so, there was a Married with Children ad on television. I typed Married with Children, and sure as hell,
Right.
Married with Children.
Do you know the story about the Esurance girl?
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
So what happened? So you remember back in the day, there was the Esurance had their girl mascot, their girl spy mascot.
Oh yeah.
And what happened was that they had to discontinue her because there was one particular artist that was doing so much pornography of this character that when you put into Google Esurance, all his galleries would show up, and then like Esurance would be like all the way at the bottom, like on the next page. Like you couldn't find the Esurance website because of it. So Esurance had to discontinue their mascot. They don't use her anymore because of this one artist.
I remember that.
He said, and they interviewed the guy, the artist, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like for some reason people were just like commissioning me left and right for this character."
And I mean, I bet you they tried
insurance was boring.
Huh?
I bet you
insurance was boring. Eh?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I bet you they tried to sue. They were like, "We're gonna sue you for you've ruined our."
I don't
know.
He
actually won because he was making fan art.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I imagine he would. That would be my argument. I'm being paid to do this. Leave me alone. They do have a like speaking of insurance girls, she's not an insurance girl, but Lily from AT&T. She got a werewolf movie coming out. I'll sit through that one. That's a werewolf movie. I'll sit through it. She's Lily's in there.
She what? What?
Lily from AT&T. She's in a werewolf movie.
Oh, okay.
And I'll sit through that one. You know, I don't know.
Oh, now all of a sudden you don't mind werewolves too much.
Melania Weintraub.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in This Is Us for a short period of time. Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah.
She was almost a live action Squirrel Girl. Now she's just the voice on the cartoon, but she was gonna be the live action when she was cast, and apparently that project fell through.
Yeah, she was on the web, about a year ago, 6 months ago, talking about people criticizing her for her breasts.
Yeah.
Oh,
she didn't.
I love being, narrowed down to certain body anatomy.
Yeah. Like, well,
I love that.
Well, people were
makes
like,
me feel like a person.
in the comment section. In the comment section, people were like, "Oh my God, look at her! Look at those childbearing hips! Oh, I want to get hold of those mommy milkers." And it's mommy milkers, and I'm like, mommy milkers. So
can we use the proper vernacular? They're titties, please. Thank you. Be polite. I swear, it's like I hate that phrase that's popped up. It's like, oh
God damn it, Daphne, that's problematic.
You know what? If that's gonna be my new title, I'm gonna run with it.
It's a shame because you get all these idiots out there drooling in a Beavis and Butthead non-social way, just to encourages people to cover up and not look beautiful. She's a very beautiful woman.
Cover up those milkers. Do it now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's a shame.
Hideous thing to say, isn't it?
I know it really
milkers,
is. It's like, oh, really?
I mean, mommy milkers. Come on, guys. I couldn't think of anything better than that.
Really?
Like, it's as bad as it is. I probably wouldn't okay with just milkers.
Critical Blast is exactly what I was thinking. If they do that with Flo from Progressive, I'm out.
Oh, you haven't searched then. You haven't Googled.
Yeah, there's some.
Google it.
Look, the main ship is Flo and Mayhem. Okay, there's a whole fandom about those two.
I can,
obviously, you know what? Daphne spends a lot of time on.
Yes, online. I do, sir.
Yeah, I can see them as a couple. Flo and Mayhem. They would be good together.
Just think of the commercial possibilities.
I look up this stuff so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was telling my wife the other day. She said, your characters from your book Catharsis. You based it on celebrities, didn't you? I was like, yeah. I based them on two celebrities that I think should have been together in the first place because they're beautiful individuals. Character Connor is based on Chris Evans, and the girl who is named Anna, she's based on Megan Fox. And I'm like, they're just gorgeous individuals, and together, I'm pretty sure they'll make the prettiest child ever. They should get together and do it, but they won't because Megan Fox is.
You'd be surprised. Do you know what I mean? Just because people are attractive, and my kids are gorgeous. but I'm as ugly as sin. It's like that's the way. It doesn't work that way, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. I just. At least it makes for good. It sets the child up for the best genetics possible, hopefully. But then again, they could drop an Ugmo.
Nothing like a bit of genetic manipulation.
It's right,
yeah. But no. Megan chooses to date a walking corpse. She sucked all the life out of poor Machine Gun Kelly. That boy looks like I thought he was a prop from Army of the Dead. I did. He's gaunt. He looks like either that or it's Coke, and I don't mean the drink.
Right,
Army of the Dead.
That's the Hollywood breakfast of champions: Coke and cigarette, Coke, cigarettes, and coffee.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Army of the Dead, isn't that on Netflix?
Yes, it is.
Have you seen the Moore Willis Spawn?
What?
Demi Moore and Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Rumor was cute.
Child genetics. I think I missed something.
Yeah. Rumor was cute for a while, and then it kind of just.
Well, aging does that to everybody. So it's like, everyone. Look, it's like I always remember something that Carrie Fisher was screaming out. We're all hot at 21. So it's like
no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, it's like, what it is that we're so, as a society, we're so like inundated with imagery of plastic surgery and Kardashian lips and stuff like that, and fillers, and that we don't know what people look like anymore. We really don't. It's like every time we see somebody without makeup, we freak out. And this is both the guys and the girls, because it's Hollywood after all.
It was long before that too. So,
I mean, it's,
you want to know what women look like? Go back and look at Victorian paintings.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like nobody knows what people look like. We're so used to like, everything being airbrushed and smoothed out and
thinned out, cropped in. Yep. The wonders of Photoshop.
Oh, there we go.
There's a 19-year-old.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a 19-year-old who now looks a lot more like this man than look a lot more like my father than I do myself now. It's weird. But I do have this look, which my son told me. I still possess. I'm showing pictures of my mother, by the way.
There we go. Yeah, that is your look. Yeah.
So she's and I'll show you guys something else too. This is the only time until recently that I was able to sit on this sofa. My mother had this sofa designed. She drew it and had it made. It's a white sofa. And that was the only time I was ever able to sit on that sofa. See,
she didn't cover it in plastic like everyone did back in the day.
Oh, she did. She did. My dad would get mad about that. Pass it off the sofa. Why is it up there? But it's you can't sit on that sofa. So recently, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit there. And I did. I had a girlfriend come over once, and she sat on it. Not only did she sit on it, she Indian sat on it.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
cushions.
Yeah, I'm like, are you fucking gonna get us killed? Like, we might as well screw on it too while we're at it.
To somebody's house and right off the bat, you're putting your feet on their sofa. It's kind of like the Chappelle skit with.
They all do it.
Charlie Murphy. I put my boots on your white sofa.
I had a young lady come over selling vacuums. She sat at the dining room table like that. She brought her knees up and settled. And I was like, What?
Right.
What?
It's like, what?
Okay.
Wolves don't sit like that. It's like, what the heck? Who raised you?
Are you guys, by the way, are you guys excited at all for the fact that I know Randy's excited. I'm buying him an issue. We're going to read it together. The Hellfire Gala is starting.
Tumblr X-Men.
Dude, I hate to interrupt you, Varian, but we're here to talk about fun comics.
Right.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I don't think that was made for me.
Right.
It's called
I don't think it was made for anybody.
I don't know who's reading that.
They're starting to arrive, by the way, guys. The X-Men are starting to arrive to the party, and this needs to be chronicled.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Right. It's like, that's fan art stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what that is. I mean, that's stuff when the Met Gala would actually show and people would do like tons of fan art, based on it. They would do like what's called a Metsona, which is like everyone would start designing costumes according to the theme. I mean, it was pretty fun, but it's not like it's not like it should be the topic of an actual comic.
This is inherent in the problem I mentioned earlier about it not being comics not being culturally acceptable. Now people, corporate comics are trying to change superhero comics, which, let's face, they're crap mythos. They're good fun. Right. They're they're B movie stuff. They're trying to change that stuff into slice of life or some kind of commentary or some kind of a way of getting new things out. And it's like, no, make comics, comics about other things, and let the superhero comics be superhero comics.
Right. Yeah. What it is that they want people to it's like, well, we want people to read superhero comics. That's it. It's like, so we're going to do superhero slice of life, superhero fantasy, superhero this, superhero that, as opposed to just making, well, here's this, like you said, the superhero comics are their own thing. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, here's a comic about, like I said, Roman chariot racing.
And of course, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in that format. So the people that you're making slice of life comics for or social commentary comics for don't want to read it in superhero comics.
Right.
And the people that just want you to like kick the crap out of each other and have a cosmic adventure, they don't want to read those comics either.
Yeah, exactly.
I am amazed though that this cover from Marauders is going out. Now, any other time, I think this cover would have been called recalled and picked on. Here it is.
Okay.
It's the White Queen cover. She's arriving to the gala.
I think it's okay, but I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with it. But why would I buy that comic?
It's cheese. Would you say this covers cheesecake, by the way?
Yeah, okay, sure.
I'd buy a comic like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And not because those two are guys, but because they look like they're doing something.
Right. Oh, hold on. Let me.
I get it. I totally get it. But like, I'm just thinking, if I would have put a female on the cover like that, they would have said, "Hey, you can't do that."
Yeah, because
she's supposed to be about fun books.
It's following the
Subday
line.
Funnies.
It's following the line.
I'll tell you guys what. The credit card thing in the corner is beeping, and I don't have $50 to pay it this right now. So you guys can pay it and take over the channel and run whatever kind of programming you want.
Let me okay, so let's this is something that I've been working on, and I thought it was pretty interesting. This is why we need to remind people that you have to, like, not hyper focus on stuff like this now, and really study people from the past and understand the history of comics and what kind of books came out, because it really does. Something happened. I'm drawing this cover. I'm redoing a cover, and I realized that because of the fact that I've been kind of like knee deep in Conan comics recently, that something happened. Something happened. So I'm redoing. So this is a comic that I did. I kickstarted a while ago. So this is the cover that I did for it, and I'm recently just retooling everything because it's like, we're looking to get this in color, and it's like, okay, I want to do something a little different. So this is the original cover. So then what I started doing was I started looking at this. I started, so these are the books that I really started looking into and studying. And it's like, okay, you know what makes this artwork really stand out and work the way it does? I mean, you just open up to any page and it's like the artwork just pops out at you. And it's like, okay, what is it that makes this type of artwork tick? And then this is the cover that came out after really looking at this. So, and here it is. So you see, yeah, exactly. It's like there's such a difference. I mean, I even surprised myself that there's such a difference in the two covers. Like, because it's like, okay, by learning my past, I'm able to reshape the artwork I'm doing now in a certain way that just feels different.
But you feel that influence? That influence was that influence can be scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's
you see, that's covers aren't what they used to be, are they?
Yeah.
No. They're not selling the books in the way they used to, and half the time they don't need to.
Yeah.
Not from a corporate comic perspective, anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why the covers just aren't. They aren't nailing it. They don't have the energy.
That's really, what are they selling here?
Well, that's the point I'm making.
It's just a pinup. It's just like I said. It's someone's Metsona that they're doing on Tumblr.
Yeah, but you see, that's selling sex, and I see what Varian is saying. If he did a cover like that, he might well be sort of taken to task over it.
Thank you. Yep. Yep.
Whereas because they're doing it in the way that they're doing it, they get away with it.
Yeah,
and that's wrong. It's like either it's okay or it isn't. Well, I think it's okay, but I think that cover is incredibly boring.
But meanwhile, but it's like, it's like if they did a cover like this, it's like, oh, it's objectifying. Or something.
I like in the cover that Russ held up, that cover of those Doom and Thing rushing. It made me want to, as a reader, I look at it and I'm saying, and I miss Johnny back then. Wow. It's too well. Okay. Well, you see Thing, and I see them rushing the camera. My thing as a reader, what are they running toward?
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. Why is Doctor Doom and the Thing like side by side? What the hell is happening?
Yeah. Where's Reed?
Where's Reed? What's going on? But and okay, you have to have some background knowledge on that for it to make that excitable. But at the same time, it wouldn't have mattered how much you knew about the characters. It's still a dynamic image, much like what you were doing there, Daphne. Is you changed that image and it became that much more dynamic. Much more energy in it.
Is that a problem of like cheesecake covers though? I guess now we have like
sex. They're selling sex.
Yep, they are, but then
they're kind of not at the same time. It's kind of like a very generic sexy thing, like it's Vogue.
It's already the case that they're saying, or that they have implied that they don't want the old audience.
Right.
Well, you'd be selling sex to the old audience. You wouldn't be selling sex to the new audience.
But when I look at your covers, Russ, and I've looked at quite a few of them. Look at your covers. The covers, come out for air. I don't know if Randy's got that queued up, but the cover for there's Death Can Save Us. There's action on that cover.
Yeah.
There's things I want to know about that one right there.
Yeah.
You got the girl coming through the portal with Death. It's like there's action. I want to know what's going on next.
Yeah.
It's suggestive of something actually happening in the comic.
Yeah.
That's what covers are about. Some of them are more explanatory. Like back in the day, they used to have word bubbles and stuff. And some of them are, like, for instance, that one of the graphic novel for Only Death is representative. It's not an accurate display of exactly what happened, but it doesn't matter. It's drawing you in. It's saying something's going to happen in this book. Right. If you opened this book up and it was Death and his mates talking to each other in a cafe for the whole book, you would be desperately disappointed.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't have slow bits. It doesn't mean you can't have pacing. It just means that you're expecting something to go down.
Right. I mean, and it doesn't need even to be fighting. I mean, it's like, so this is another cover that I'm working on for a future issue of Ego Raven, and it's kind, and it's like it's not a fight scene per se, but the thing is though, it's like this is a cover that I want telling a story, the story just as much as the interiors. So it's like, so it's like, even though it's just people yelling at each other, I kind of hope that I get a feeling of what's going on in this picture.
And
it's emotive and indicative of what is inside the book,
right? Because I hate covers where it's just a pinup on the cover and it doesn't tell me anything.
It looks like little Ego Raven. She's pissed at the king.
Yeah,
he's laying down a very. Are those jurors back there?
Yeah.
Are they just okay? Well, then one of them is an asshole.
Right. Yeah. So that, but the thing is, all right. So already it's like you're already reading into like what's going on in this scene.
Yeah.
As opposed to, if I just gave like a standard pinup or something, which there's nothing wrong as it. It's like the standard pinup is good as a bookmark. It's like, there's room for every type of artwork, but when it comes to like storytelling, I kind of like enjoy when every bit of a comic is telling that story. as like this guy is trying to tell his story.
I just wonder, can we do that in today's marketplace, or does it have to be a slow shift back to that? Because all those panels, all those pictures he has behind us here, they all are like what you're saying. They show us, they tell a story in the background here. They tell a story. They show action. To see that, to walk into, like, some people consider that old style. That's an old style comic, and it shouldn't be.
I think it comes down to the quality. Okay, if you've got a quality cover and it's dynamic, it's going to sell. It's going to jump out better than anything else, than a cover first off that isn't any good. If it's dynamic, as it's got energy to it, but it's not particularly well put together, then somebody's going to see, your average buyer is going to see through that much quicker. Also, I think, a lot of the pin-up and like special art covers and what have you, they're really playing to the collector crowd.
Yeah, that's the
thing. They're not playing to the average person that might, for instance, should there be an environment at some point in time where comics might be displayed in a shop that was not a comic book shop?
God forbid.
And God forbid. And that people walked in off the street and just saw them arrayed there, they'd probably be more enticed into a book that was that showed some kind of dynamics on the cover. And that you could be saying, well, some of the special art covers might do that because they might be dynamic, but they'd soon get disappointed if they saw something on the cover that didn't even vaguely happen in the book. If they're there to actually pick the books up and read them and enjoy them, which hopefully is what you would want people to do.
Trico, it makes a good point there.
Trico says Silver Age DC Comics on the cover, Jimmy Olsen would be lamenting to Lois that Superman got turned into a gorilla, and I would have to read to see what appeared in the book.
Yeah.
This is the book. This is the book that did it for me. Found this in a supermarket on the rack.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell is this? This completely blew my mind when I saw this. And then it's like, and then I had to get like the rest of them. I mean, look at that cover.
That is epic.
This showed me that there was something else going on that I could do. This one is my favorite cover, by the way. This is my favorite all-time cover. This one.
Bonkers.
I was really hoping that there was going to be a price hike in the middle of that.
Huh?
I like it when someone collects a book and then in the middle of the run, the price goes up. Because like they were all 75 cents, but I've got some runs like that where it was like $1.50, $2.75. And you're like, what happened? Like, the price of paper went up. Did you so you went back? So you found issue number 2 first, and then you went back.
Well, yeah, I found issue number 2. I think issue number 1, because it's the only one that has the Spider-Man in the corner.
Mhm.
So I think that this one I might have bought from Mile High. I'm not sure, because everything else has a barcode on it. So obviously I got this from a store somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily, because some of the
but-
retailers had barcode back
Yeah.
then. But
And then I just realized I have this in one of the. I don't even know where I got this.
Wow.
Look at this.
Wow.
I didn't even remember I had this. Look at this. I didn't even. Where did I get this?
That's
looks
really
like they
cool.
had a character Bible at one point.
Yeah, and it's like
Made
it has
up of a
little
lot of them
holes
characters.
and
Yeah.
everything. So I don't know. Maybe I found it at a show or something.
Style
Nah,
guide or something. That's
did
what
they
it looks
release
like. It
those,
come off
Randy?
of.
Yeah, but
Did they
the-
release those like character Bible sheets to the public?
I remember the books. The
I don't remember them selling character sheets like that to the
Yeah.
public.
That
No,
would be
Yeah.
cool though. That would be
they,
cool.
they might have done a book of them.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I
that
remember-
looks like it was spiral bound at one point
Yeah,
in
no,
a
it has
regular
like
notebook.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, though, it looks like it was meant to be like that. Like not like someone punched holes in it.
Yeah.
Like, had that card. Like there was a character. It was part of a character Bible. Oh, but
Yeah.
my whole point is that. So it took me seeing this in a supermarket. You know, I
Uh-huh.
think that if I had to have depended on comic book shops on the direct market, I don't think I would have found anything. I don't think
No.
I would be here.
Yeah.
You know, because even ElfQuest, I found it at a Barnes and Noble, not a comic book shop. And it's like, you know, the direct, I mean, it's like the direct market is so insular that it's like there's no way they can attract new people. You know, it's kind of weird because, like, yeah, who's buying that cover? You know, who's buying that
Yeah.
book? You know, not people who are buying
Definitely.
the rest of it. I mean,
No.
you know,
I seen a tweet that said that, and they had this conversation, makes me think about it. Said that, comics as a resource for Hollywood are getting tapped because
Yeah.
there's no, like the concepts. But then you think about the rich history of comics. There are many stories to be told. How come, they haven't taken another crack at Popeye or at
there was a Popeye cartoon that was
Yeah.
about to come out that the guy from
Yeah.
Samurai Jack was doing, and that got canned.
yeah. Apparently
and-
it's back on now, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
And
also
it's
an
beautiful
amazing, there was an amazing stop motion Popeye movie that they were working on. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that got finished or not.
Yeah.
I would. They could go back
Yeah,
and
there
pick
was
up
a
some of
short
these older
movie
stuff.
that was finished. I know that
Yeah.
much. But
It-
like coming back to variant like covers for a second, like
Mhm.
this is like by Storm, so a series that I follow here
Uh-huh.
in Europe. But this is a floppy
Hang on,
comic
Mike,
magazine.
Yeah,
So like there are like 15 different comics in there.
that's
So-
cool.
Wow. That's a cool cover.
You got, very dark and gritty. And
Yeah, and all of these are serialized to be put into albums later if they're successful,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. And like cartoony. And
Yeah.
most of these are Dutch creators, and then you got the actual
Oh yeah, look at that.
comic from the cover, Let me see what else we got in here. Here we got Drift World, which is a super successful one going on in Europe right now.
hmm
And you got all kinds of stuff. Like a buddy of mine made his very first comic strip, and he actually got called by this magazine 30 minutes later, going, "We want to highlight you on like, and we want you in this magazine."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like they're constantly scouting as well for new stuff. Like
sweet.
I should really publish Live on Cora in Dutch.
That's one of the things that we think this made the internet or the pandemic at least beneficial, is that we've all come together.
Yeah.
And we got people like Sim, who's apparently the wrong type of Canadian. No, I'm just kidding. He can translate for us. Could you translate this to French for me? I'll pay you X amount of dollars to translate it. Could you translate something to Spanish? I can always go to Trico for that. No, I can't. Trust me, they will be very upset with me. The Hispanic community, like, did you know what you wrote? Trico was the guy who, but no, it's brought us all together where you could possibly get that and reach another audience. You can always, what Mike is it? 7 languages you speak? 7 different.
No. I only speak Dutch and English.
See, that's a song right there. That's all. That's all it requires.
I had German and French in school for like 5 years, and I had a very constant 20%. Like, languages are not my thing.
We can survive. We can kind of survive an area.
No,
it's tourist with tourist language.
You can speak French?
No. I know a couple of words.
Yeah,
I can introduce myself, and that's it. And I've had it for like 4 years in middle school and college.
Did you learn how to say I give up?
Sorry?
Did you learn how to say I give up? I give up. I quit.
No, but I learned how to say I hate French.
Right. Oh, there you go.
How's that?
Je déteste la français. And I probably completely murdered it. Sorry to every French-speaking person in the world.
Our numbers in France just dropped.
No, yeah. By the way,
that's the fastest way to get French people to speak English to you. Is to speak French to them, and they will start speaking. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, je ne parle pas anglais, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you need to cut that out.
Yeah. I've told this story before.
Please stop. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
My friend from Romania, it's the weirdest thing. So she speaks English, no accent or anything, except when she speaks to her mother.
Right.
When she speaks to her mother, she uses Romanian. But when her mother has decided to speak in English, and her mother has a very thick accent, English, because her mother was, and her mother was speaking it's like kind of really broken English, she does it. And she has an accent with her English. She speaks to her mother. And I'm looking at her like, I don't know who you are. You're a chameleon.
That's an empathetic accent.
And exactly.
A buddy of mine had that as well when we were still working. Like, if he would talk to a Polish guy at the construction site, then he would be having a Polish accent. If he would be talking to a Turkish guy, he would have the Turkish accent, and
oh my God, do you guys do it to me?
No.
Do you guys do it to me? You give me an Ebonics accent, don't you? Daphne said ain't the other day.
Yeah, no, I probably do that. Yes.
Randy said finna. I'm finna go to the store. I see how it is. I'm out of here. You guys
but it's empathetic. It means that we actually want to make sure we're communicating correctly with you.
You're the person you're talking to. It's involuntary.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
Talking English.
Sure you are.
Just saying. No. Everyone's talking English. Oh yeah.
Except Nita here. That's probably a swear word.
There we go.
No. That's
that New Orleans.
I give up. That's I give up.
Jabadon.
I can order some fruit if you like.
Jabadon, please.
But it's
Trico says I like the Superman cover where he throws his costume in the garbage and turns his back on it. Had to read it to see what
Spider-Man.
Wasn't that Spider-Man?
Yeah.
He might have been Spider-Man, yeah.
Or did Superman? Well, Trico's a big Silver Age guy. That might have happened to Superman too. We just never saw the cover.
I'm pretty sure he quit a few times.
Right, yeah.
Everybody's quit a few times.
Like, do you know what the cover was?
Long-standing icons.
Yeah.
My godfather gave it to me in a bag of books. Green Lantern quitting. Remember that when he's walking away, he's throwing the ring down?
Mm-hmm.
That cover. I had to open that book and find out why he would.
Right.
Is that Neil Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the most memorable Titan covers has got Kid Flash and Robin walking off in their civilian clothing with their costumes hanging off of the logo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was a really good cover.
Why is Wolverine quitting again? That was always my thing.
You're done again?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just really, yeah, I guess it's like in the end, I think it's all about, especially with the mainstream companies, it's about like the
Trico says, damn it, I meant Spider-Man.
Right, yeah, well, we're pretty sure you did. I mean, it's about the homogenization of the media. And it's like, turning them solely into IPs and just like, giving people as little as possible to ruminate on. Like you're not supposed to think about it. You're supposed to see that cover, and all you're supposed to do is say, "Oh, pretty," and then that's the extent of it. That's pretty much the extent of the thought process they want you to have on that cover. They don't want you to think about like what the story must be or what the party's about or anything. It's just they just want you to have like one momentary piece of attention on it, and then that's it. It's kind of like how at conventions, it's like, the print mongers pretty much exploded, where it's like people would rather spend $20 on a print of the Punisher than spend $20 on a graphic novel of the Punisher. Well, the print doesn't require thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that heralds back to the modern mainstream American, at least mainstream modern age, getting so lazy.
Yeah.
Just all out lazy. Decompressed storytelling. Don't care about any type of structure. We can do whatever we want. We can throw a giant pin up here, or look, isn't this cover great? Well, don't worry about that one because we got 5 other variants that are going to sell that. Yeah,
book, you're just going to slab this anyway. So it's like, why do we have to worry about the content? They might as well just put blank covers in there, blank pages.
It encourages slabbing to a collector a collector's market that's ever dwindling instead of a readership in order to grow and like you said, develop an actual care and love for an IP.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of just over abusing the icon and seeing how many different ways we can turn people off, because if you don't like it, we didn't make it for you.
You're right.
I don't know if the slabbing works. So I just seen a slab book in one of my local comic shops. It was up there for $8. I almost bought it just so I could have a slab book. Like it was $8.
That's funny because the slabbing alone is probably 10.
Yeah, right. In fact, I think it was Anthony. I can't remember his last name right now. He took a picture. He showed a picture of him. He said, "This is how slab books are treated in my house." He had a slab book. He had a screwdriver, and he was breaking the slabbing. And he broke the slabbing, pulled the book out, took the book, put it in a bag and board, and put it in his collection.
Why did he bother buying a slabbed book if he was going to do that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was gifted to him or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know how he got a hold of the book. It was just that he said, "This is how this is how we do slab books around here."
Right.
But I almost bought a slab book. It was only $8, and I was like, but it wasn't. It also wasn't slabbed through CGC. It was another company. It was one of these others. It wasn't the secondary company. It must have been another one because the label on it looked really. I don't want to say cheap.
See, that's what really surprises me about the sport card company, because I guess there's only one company out there that's slabbing sports cards. But there's 3 or 4 companies out there slabbing comics.
Right, and pretty much. But the thing is, though, pretty much the collectors agree that it's the CGC ones that are worth more.
Yeah.
So. It's I don't understand this.
It would seem to me
and again, it leans back to the perception of the collector's market too. And the fact that they see CGC up on a high pedestal, and anybody else that slabs is just second rate.
My dad was a big card collector, and I remember those days, and just looking through the Beckett price guide, and they had like the prices for tops and the prices for Fleer, and he showed me how to read all that stuff. And I would tell him what the numbers were, and I think that might be why there's only one card company doing it, because man, the legwork it would take when someone sends in a card. There was a card that he was looking for. We finally found it. I mean, boxes upon boxes of cards. It was Skybox had done a set of like art. Like almost they weren't cubist, but they were like they were really like 90s like art for these cards. Like these basketball players. And the David Robinson card, there was an aired card that went out, which I say aired with quotation marks now because I'm much wiser. but it the ball was breaking the border, where in the regular version of the cards, the framing of the card cut the ball off. Well, there were a couple of these where and that one was worth more. My father must have tracked that card down, box after box after box. Finally ended up getting two of them. And they were $60-$70 cards. I'm not sure what they're worth now. They're still out.
But it's like gambling. How much money did he spend finding
Yeah.
those cards to get his? Okay, so the card is worth $70, but it doesn't mean anything if he spent $500 on
Trying to get it. Yeah,
to find it.
Depends what his end game is. If he just enjoys getting it.
Yeah.
But I think Dad's thing was, okay, well, I'll take it. I'll sit on it for years and see where it's at.
Right.
But I remember years later, I still got his collection. Just going into a sports card shop and looking at some of these cards and looking at the prices, and they're ridiculously not cheap. They're expensive. They're like, I can afford that. Wait a minute. And the guy told me, he says, well, back in the 90s, he says around the time of the sports cards and Image Comics. Is what they didn't tell anybody is they were running those presses nonstop.
Well, I don't know, because at the time we kind of knew they were doing that.
Yeah,
and they were saying that Spawn sold out, and it's like it's worth $200, and it's like they printed 1 million copies of those. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like. That was, I guess it's, because we're on the other side of the table, so we kind of know this nonsense a little bit more intimately. So
he said they were running the presses 24 hours, and those cards, there's so many of them. He told me, he says, maybe, wait a couple more years, maybe he said maybe a couple more natural disasters. They take out some of these, large collection stockpiles.
Yeah, because that's what it is. That's why old comics are valuable. They're valuable because they're rare, because everyone's moms threw out their collections, because people lost their collections in floods, because,
they're valuable because people used to read them. They didn't buy them to collect.
They were never perceived as collectible when they first started. They were just perceived as entertainment.
And that's,
Like JD told me a story about when I think the Ultimate Warrior did his comic, and I think that they had they sold out of a 30,000 print run or something almost immediately, because it was the first issue. And what they were doing is that every time they went to a convention, all of a sudden they'd be like, oh yeah, we found these books in a warehouse, and they would and they were constantly selling books. Wait a minute, it's what do you? And then it turned out that they were reprinting the books and selling them all as first printings without telling anybody.
Ooh.
Because they were taking advantage of that frenzy. So they're always pretending that it's oh yeah, we found these, it's it's sold out, but
that's
not an unusual story.
Not an unusual story at all.
Deceptive,
unethical, but not unusual.
I think they probably I've seen that. I've seen people do that. I've seen people claim that they were selling we sold out. The funniest thing I ever seen was internationally sold out. Internationally, because it's if I go over to visit Russ, and Russ says, hey, there's a Comic-Con in town, let's go to it. And I go, and I only bring 7 copies in my book, because let's face it, I'm flying out the country.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Internationally sold out. Cabbage Patch Dance. Yep.
I've seen a lot of publishers do that. Oh, I'm sorry, we're sold out.
Right. It's kind of like how movie studios do the #1 comedy featuring a monkey coming out in July. Something like that they really narrow down the specifications. What makes their movie #1.
#1 movie in America starring this character, starring this actor. Highly specific. I think when it comes to indie comics, though, like some people say that numbering isn't important, and how many times you go back to print something isn't important. And to that, I will say, I don't know, that first Ninja Turtles comic, I think that first printing matters, whereas the second and third, although I think you can get
I'm conflicted about this because I don't number my books according to printing, because it's like I just don't feel the need. I mean, it's like my print runs are so small. It's like what? It's like I'm gonna get to this is the 52nd printing. I mean, it gets kind of ridiculous at that point.
Randy, do you have a copy of TMNT 1? I mean, you were like right there when they were doing it. I mean, not right there when they were doing it, but like you were on the con circuit.
Right there. No, not right there.
Right there.
I was going turtles. You need koalas. Koalas. It'd be great. No, I think I do have a copy of the original run, at least the first half a dozen or so that I collected. I know that I mentioned on the inside cover of the Donatello book that was done. His one shot, his first one shot. They mentioned Tales from the Universe in that, But I'm pretty sure I have it. I know at one time I had 3 Cerebus ones that I traded out to the local comic shop because they kept getting in these hardbound EC volumes that I was collecting at the time. So I'd take a grocery bag full of books to them, and they'd go, well, here, boom.
Who got the better deal?
Yeah, good question.
They probably did monetarily, but I definitely did artistically.
There you go.
The second Charles, they buy books, and I wish they took them by the pound.
Not to say there's anything wrong with the early Cerebuses, because I hold those in high esteem. But
I wish they took books by the pound. That'd be nice. Here, take this. But they
by the pound.
I let them take that, but they look up everything, and there's some good books in there. I like going in there finding these little gems here and there that I'll send to Randy. There was a book I almost bought because it was Tarzan, and Randy wrote back immediately, says, "You don't want that."
I said, "Please don't buy that. Don't buy that for me." The Jesse Marsh years.
You had to put the artist on front. I guess he's dead, but
not a big fan of his work.
Not a fan. No,
probably if I were to sit back now and look at it, it'd be the work of genius. But at the time, no.
Yeah, he told me, he says, "No, you don't want that." But the wife bought ElfQuest.
Yeah,
big ElfQuest trade.
The black and white one from Dark Horse, or
Dark Horse. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Volume 1. So we'll see how that goes. She said, "What should I read?" And I said, "Well, everyone says you should read ElfQuest. Go ahead."
I mean, it might come off as a little dated because it's like I know that I tried rereading it, and it's very much a product of its time. But I mean, I still can't deny that book, along with the Rocket Raccoons, changed my life.
I started the first comic shop in my local area here in the back of a pinball arcade way back in the late. I don't even want to tell you, but you'll know when I tell you the story anyway. And when we unboxed a copy of Fantasy Quarterly #1, I looked at it and I went, this is silly. I'll put it out on the stands, but it was the coloring was off on it, and the cover was
the orange cover, right?
Yeah, the orange cover. Fantasy Quarterly #1 featuring ElfQuest. I'm like, okay. And then look at the powerhouse it became. Just incredible.
I'm sorry, Daphne and Russ are giving me anxiety.
Why?
Because when I look, it looks like Daphne's inking that page for something. My brain is telling me that Daphne's inking that page. And when Daphne, and when you look up and his hand is still going inking, I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. I was like, oh.
All of a sudden, my stuff looks like Russ now.
That's almost as good as the guy walking behind Russ and coming around on Daphne's account.
Oh, yeah. That's,
almost.
Yeah. It's freaking me out, man.
Harvey says Indie Comics is bringing back the magic I felt when I was 8 years old. So many great artists making so many great stories about without agendas and BS. Indies are conquering the world.
Yeah, that was a conversation that I was having it was an interview where we were talking about storytelling, and there was a person, one of the interviews, like they were like going, you don't put politics in your comics, do you? Like it was such a specific question. Like she had been so disappointed by comics up until that point that she had to just outright ask. And
Wow.
the thing is, though, and it kind of struck me as odd. It's like, wow, you know, that's really specific. And then it's like on another interview, we were talking about, you know, that my goal when I'm writing comics is to write about the universal experience. Like, it's like, even though like themes in my comics, you can project like your individual things onto it, you know, like I have, you know, certain themes in Ego Raven that a lot of people have been mentioning, like, oh, I really relate to that character, but they all tell me it from a different angle. Like, well, it's because of this. And then another person goes, yeah, it's like I relate, but it's because of that. So it's like, you know, so they can like all imprint their own stuff onto the story. And that was like pretty much a goal that I set out, that it's like, even though it's the hero's journey, you know, and it's like everybody can relate to the hero's journey in one way or another. So it's like, so I really make it a point to remove specifics. You know, it's like, no, I want everybody to relate to what this character is going through, not certain people. Like, oh, well, it's this problem is very specific to this group, and it's like, no, I want it to be like everybody can be personal, but at the same time, it's universal because we've all been through something like that.
I think a lot of it as well is a misuse of the word politics.
Yeah. I think so too.
Because a lot of the time it isn't about, you know, you can have politics, you can refer to modern day politics, you can refer to general politics, you can even take a view on it. But if you start putting your ideology into a book and not giving the reader, which is exactly what you're doing, you're not doing that. You're giving the reader the opportunity to think for themselves. That's that's how good storytelling is. So you can put as many of your personal ideas or yourself into a book, as long as you give the reader of the book or the comic or whatever the ability to make their own ideas up about it. In fact, you're more likely to convince someone of your thought process or your way of thinking if you do it softly. If you just bang people over the head with it, then they go, oh, I don't want to read this. This is just too much.
It's
okay. Like the stuff that I put in my books. Okay, there's a lot of there's some esoteric stuff in there. There's some opinions that I have about stuff. Okay, but it's all there for people to just take what they want. You know, a good story should be a smorgasbord of ideas, and you know, people take what they want out of it. If you only force one way of taking those ideas, so it's not like so for instance, the big thing a little while ago is when they had what's his name, the Red Skull was supposed to be Jordan Peterson. And it's like, you could say from the writer's perspective, well, you don't have to take it like that. You don't have to be offended by that. It's just an idea. But if that's if the way that it's written is in such a way that it's obvious who it's parodying, and it's obvious that you think this person is evil, and that you're not going to let the reader think any otherwise, okay, because you've made him the Red Skull, then effectively you're jamming that reader down a road that's ever thinning, and they can't get out of it, and they can't make an opinion for themselves or even agreeing with the writer, because they've got no choice. So people don't read that.
Well, what? So Russ, like, what is like the one? Like, it doesn't have to be one thing, but because for me, it's like it's one main thing that I try to avoid in my storytelling. But like, what's one thing that you've made it a point? Like you've seen it so many times, and you're like going, "Holy crap! I am so not going to do that," and you've made it a point to avoid that in your work. What would be like an example? I guess again, an example, not one thing, an example. You know.
Oh God. Well, try. Yeah, that's really difficult. I would try to say that the thing that I most focus on, because I think that the way that I tell stories is in its own way open-ended. So I give people the ability to think. So I don't feel I have to think too much about knocking myself back and saying, right, don't be too ideological, Russ. Right. I don't think in those terms. So I would say the thing that I think is most important is the pacing. Because that's the way you keep people interested.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and but as far as what I put into my story, there's so many things out there that I think you shouldn't put into a comic book if you just want people to enjoy themselves. Right, it's probably too long a list, to be honest. I like I said, I don't want to be hammered over the head with a concept. I want to be able to follow it myself, and I want to give. You want to give. I think that the most descriptive of things that I could pick out as a hard item,
right,
that would make, which would kind of describe the way that I approach the stories, is your villains must always be believable. So your villain probably thinks they're doing the right thing. Yeah, your villain thinks that they're saving the world or the universe. Thanos thought he was doing the right thing, which is why he became such a great character. Okay, yes, he was a nasty piece of work, but the impetus for so many of the things that he did was about that balance. And so if you expand that to the whole of the book, if you expand that to all of your writing, balance. Yeah, and people, because the world is in essence balanced. It is balanced in the way that it's created. So that's what people are looking for. So you need to be able to find something in, say, a villain that stops you from hating them completely.
Right.
Yeah, it's something that you might think, oh well, they might have a point there.
Mm-hmm. you know, there was a thing with Thanos. It was kind of like, man, he's got a point. But
yeah.
But I think that in general for your writing, you've got to have that balance. If you don't, if you go overboard one way or the other, then people kind of switch off, which is what I'm trying to say about ideology. It's like people switch off.
Yeah.
But having a believable villain in the way that they're not necessarily like all the great Bond villains. They all had this idea that they were unifying the planet, or they were doing something good for humanity. If they were just there to kill everybody, what the hell? Then they wouldn't. There wouldn't be any fun, would they? Because then
I don't know, because
they wouldn't tell anybody their plan before they tied them up in front of a shark tank.
I don't. But that's also the thing too, because it's like my favorite villains are the ones who are just there to like, I'm here to kill everybody. You know, it's like the Patrick Batemans and the Maleficents. It's like, I'm just here to kill the baby.
Yeah. But for instance, it's like you see a film and you think, why didn't you just shoot him? Why didn't you just shoot that person? Just don't tie them up. Don't tell them your plan. If you're the good guy, if you're even watching the good guys and they're like fighting, and you think, just break his knees. What is wrong with you? Just what are you doing standing up and fighting someone? Just break their kneecaps. And none of this ever. And that of course that wouldn't make a good story, would it?
Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't make a great story.
You see, like my son watches cartoons and he's like, that villain, he's gonna destroy the world. And I'm like, oh, does he have a spaceship? And he's like, no. I'm like, so he's going to destroy the world. He's going to blow the world up. And I'm like, how was he planning to escape? and my son looked at me like this. Wow, like has the bad guy thought this through it all? Like, I'm gonna destroy the world.
Well, what show was he watching? Because maybe that'll put it into context.
You know, it's one of these. It's one of these. Like my mother will send him cartoons all the time. It's something from the dollar store. I know that much. It was from the dollar store. It's an older cartoon. It's probably from like a early 2000s DVD.
That's an older cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
for me,
musty, mossy, yeah.
2000.
Yeah.
But it's like
Oh.
he wants to destroy the world. And it's like, how is he going to escape? Where's his space pod? He has to leave Earth in order to or jump into another dimension or something. I get going from, I'm gonna destroy the world and I'm gonna hop in this little teleport and go to a different universe. I thought it was really cool. I think it was Flash did it. They had a berry going around to different universes, killing other berries, and what would happen is that he would get stronger, and that was his deal. And I thought that was interesting. It was silly, but it was interesting. Like I get that, but I'm gonna destroy the world. But you live here. Oh, yeah. It's like Black Dynamite. I'm gonna target drug dealers in the community. But Black Dynamite, I'm a drug dealer in the community. You can't attack us. But I think that our villains have gotten a lot better. We've all I like writing villains. I like writing because they're fun to write, and if you can give them personality, you can give them a motive that's maybe even in line with one of your own. I'm a bad guy, I know it. Given the power, my God.
But even if you look at like the most hideous of villains, so for instance, Darkseid, he still had a plan. Do you know what I mean? There was a driving force. He wasn't just crazy, malicious. Well, he was, but do you know what I mean? But he had an objective, so there was something that you could follow.
Yeah,
just making someone.
Which was still to blow up all the worlds.
Yeah.
I want the anti-life equation.
But he didn't want to live here. He didn't want to live here.
No, he didn't want to live here.
He wanted to go.
Yeah.
A villain shouldn't have to be justifiable, but they should at least have a reason to do it.
Yeah.
And just being the bad guy doesn't work for most of the time, and it doesn't make them interesting.
Villainous. Every time you mention James Bond, I just go back to the I think it was Goldfinger where he goes, "No, Mr. Bond, I want you to die."
Thanks. I suppose you expect me to talk, Goldfinger.
Yes, no, I expect you to
Mr.
die.
Bond, I expect you to die. But then why did you put me in this thing and walk out before it happened?
Yeah, walked out while the laser was still burning.
We're freaking lasers.
Freaking lasers.
Well, some of those things, it's like a Bond trope. My friend, he wanted to. Now I don't think that would fly today, but we were in high school. He says, I want to write a story. He's been reading Got a Witchblade. He says, I want to write a story of a badass female cop. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, and he told me how he's going to draw it, and she's going to be a badass. He wants it to be a 12-issue miniseries every month. Or a 12-issue monthly series.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And we were talking about this because we were in high school, so we got blue sky everything, right? And he says,
I remember those days.
And he says, he gets to the end. He says in the 12th issue, she finally gets to the bag. It's like this kingpin of crime. I'm like, okay. He says, and everybody trigger warning, everyone. So you might want to turn on your speakers. Or he says, and then at the end, when she gets to the bad guy, he's gonna shoot her, like in like the shoulder, and like in the thigh. He's gonna rape her and then shoot her in the head, and then that's it. And I'm like, what?
We're really busting those tropes there.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, wait, what? And he says, yeah, because I'm tired of these movies ending with the good guy always winning. Against all odds, the good guy has to lose sometimes. And for a true villain, I don't understand why they don't kill and rape. And I'm like, what? And it really upset me for like a good 4 weeks.
Like,
I'm like,
I think it's good to kind of like, it's like, okay, you guys were like what, 17 or something,
16,
like,
17, yeah.
16, 17, right. So it's like, I think it's good to have like certain conversations like that, and kind of like why are certain things tropes?
Yeah.
Because like just to dismiss certain things, it's kind of like, the people who are saying, you shouldn't have this or you shouldn't do that. The whole it's like, yes, you can discuss why women always end up in fridges for a while.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you shouldn't say that should never happen.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, discuss the trope, but it doesn't mean a trope doesn't mean that it needs to be eliminated. It just means that it needs to be looked at differently.
I remember the girl I was dating, a little high school girlfriend. She was like, "Oh, that's sick. That's sick. You just want to torture women." And for a while, I was like, well,
Right.
she may have a point, you know.
But in the end, it depends. It's kind of like, it's.
But tropes aren't necessarily bad things.
It's kind of like the discussion. It's kind of like the discussion that happened several years ago in comedy circles. How there's no such thing as a funny rape joke, and I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, there is actually. I know probably like 4 comedians who could tell a really funny rape joke." But I mean, it depends on the person doing it. Just because there's a lot of people who are really shitty at doing a trope doesn't mean it's the trope that's the problem.
That's problematic.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if that's going to be my title, let me run with it.
Well, Joe has a point here. From a desk of a small press publisher, kind of like Dr. Doom, one of the best villains in comics, since it was about his methods to provide an alternative way for his country and the world.
Well, right, because I mean, it's like, because I guess it's like that doesn't surprise me because I have real world experience with this. So, like I sometimes like to mention, it's like my family on both sides, they spent 40 plus years under actual fascist dictatorships. And so we kind of have that experience with, that's why when people go, "Oh, that's a hate group," or this, that, and the other thing, it's like, in my experience, you kind of have to, my bar for that is a little high. So you can't just say just because someone said something, they sent you a mean tweet, that makes you something. Yeah. So the funny thing is, so I remember being in class and the teacher, this was in grade school, and the teacher was talking about how all dictatorships are bad. And then I remember raising my hand and going, "That's funny. That's not what my grandmother said." Because she always said that living under Franco was like the Spanish dictator was like the best years that she ever had, because the streets were safe and this, that, and the other thing. And she was able to, it's like they had, like her perspective of living under that regime was very different than what this teacher was trying to explain to us. And I said, it's like, well, no, because like she said this, and that. It's like, "Oh, your grandmother's wrong. Your grandmother's wrong."
Yeah.
And it's like,
not the way to deal with it, is it?
You're right. Yeah, but that's exactly how that happens. So it's like, so when you're talking about someone like Dr. Doom, who is supposed to be, I guess, like a dictator, but for what I understand, it's like he's very popular in whatever country that he's running.
Liberia,
like
it's perspective.
Exactly.
That's based in a certain reality.
Well, it's the way the mainstream media and the Western world despises Putin. Okay, it's like there are obviously serious issues about Russia. Okay, but to suggest that they're in some way worse than so many other places around the world, just because that's the way the mainstream want to see it.
Right, and it's like, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Franco had death squads, and they were shooting people in the streets. And my own grandfather spent 3 years in a concentration camp because of him. But she said, "Oh no, but it was very safe." And we were able to go out and do things.
It was safe if you did what you were told.
Right, because that's what my mother said too. Well, if you had no political aspirations, your life was great.
Exactly, and that's that's the world you don't want to live in, isn't it?
Like they don't get to power all that easily. There is a reason they got to power that way.
Yeah.
Well, did Dr. Doom in the comics, did they ever like, I don't think it was until very recently where he was kind of portrayed as a sympathetic character, though, right?
Oh, no. You're talking Dr. Doom. He was, depending upon who was writing him, obviously, but Stan Lee always showed him up to be a dictator of Latveria, and that the people in Latveria loved him.
Right.
He loved the country that he loved Latveria. Yeah, definitely.
But then Marvel, starting it with the Silver Age books, actually went through and redefined and started softening up those villains in order to show that they have a sympathetic side. That was part of the charm that Stan Lee really brought into superheroes, and not just blurring that line, but in providing that motivation and adding a step up as far as the writing ability goes. Because always before that, you had good guy versus bad guy. Bad guy was always bad. Good guy was always good.
Yeah.
So you've got a graduation of bad guys. You've got like the ones that Daphne likes, complete psychopaths. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
They're the dangerous berserkers.
I cut my teeth on John Hurt's Caligula.
All right. These people are
so.
completely outrageous and not worth thinking about. But then you have people like, I don't know, like Doctor Doom or
Mole Man's another example.
Mole Man or who else I was trying to think of? Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Where they feel like they're doing something right. They feel like they're on a mission. They feel like they're on a good mission, and it's just that other people get in the way. I mean, obviously, and that's where you start moving into that territory of people being what are you prepared to excuse? What hideous things are you prepared to excuse in order for you to do what you think is right? And then that turns you into a monster. And that becomes an incredibly interesting thing to investigate. And actually, so much of literature has been about that kind of thing.
Well, also, it's like people tend to confuse empathy with, being like, this is good behavior. It's like, no, it's like what having an empathetic villain means is that you understand that under the right circumstances, that could be you.
Yes.
Not necessarily that this is a good thing.
Yeah. How far can you be pushed? Yeah, definitely.
Marv had said, question. He says the police officer has to kill if his life is in danger. Why Batman and Daredevil can't kill? Imagine they're real. Oh, I mean,
Daredevil has his stupid Catholicism kind of getting in the way, but he has no problem. He has no problem pushing people off buildings and giving them life-threatening concussions.
Yeah,
Daredevil. Damage, but killing them. Oh, but he's not killing them.
Batman started off killing people.
Yeah, Daredevil could be malicious. Batman started off killing, but they're not deputized law enforcement either. So that's one problem. The other thing, though, I can understand Batman doesn't do it because he watched his parents get killed in front of him, so he may have a hang up about killing. It depends on the versions. Some of the cartoons, though, are not cartoons. Some of the movies have had him straight up murder people. Like,
wasn't that the argument that a lot of people were having with Zack Snyder's version of Batman?
Well, I've been having that issue since Keaton. Keaton's Batman killed.
I would have to go back and look at that.
Oh yeah.
A good way that is getting explained, and this is in the Discworld novels, if any of you read them, like the Watch series. The main character, Commander Vimes, the only reason he doesn't kill is because he knows when he kills one, then it's just going to get easier and easier, and he's going to go further and further to the point where he would not be the example that he the example to the people that he grew into.
Sorry, go on.
And so, like, if you look at a character like Batman, seeing them do kind of the same kind of moral decisions makes sense to me, at least.
Yeah, I don't think it matters in films, to be honest, because the films themselves are not. There's no way that a film of a comic book character can be completely 100% accurate.
No,
because you have to market that film to vast numbers of people who've probably never read the comic.
Yeah,
so you have to. So that's why I don't have a problem with the MCU or Nolan's Batman or whatever, or the Michael Keaton Batman or any of it, because it was a version. It was all of it's an Elseworlds or They're not the comics. They're not those things. So it's kind of like that's why. I don't quite understand why people do get so uptight about it. It's like it is what it is. Enjoy it for what it is. If you want that core of the comics, then go back to the comics. I was happy to sit and watch something like I don't know, Civil War on the big screen because it was Spider-Man and everybody like having a big bundle, and it was like, yeah, this is great, you know, like this is what I imagined when I was a kid, that like this is what a film could be. But I didn't. The story didn't really matter. I was just watching them all bundle, you know, and that was great. That was fine. If I wanted to really, I'd go back and read old comics. I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I'm not looking for a furtherment of the story in those films. And the films have a deadline on them. They have a sell by date. Eventually, films are going to go out, and they're still going to be making the comics. Okay, and if the stories were any good, you'd continue reading the comics. You would forget about the films.
I call those geek boy moments.
Yeah.
When you see it pop up and you go, "Oh, that's cool," and it takes you right back to your childhood.
I went to see Lord of the Rings in cinema first time round, and my wife was sitting there, and she said, "I could see you." She said, "I was watching your reaction." I don't think there is any film that has as successfully portrayed a book as the Lord of the Rings trilogy has. Personally, okay, and it was exactly what I'd imagined in my head when I was a kid and when I was a young man reading that book twice. And my wife said, "You sat in a cinema and your jaw dropped while you were watching it." Because it just did everything that I was expecting, but for that to happen, very, very rare. It's very difficult, and so you have to hold back your expectations and just enjoy what you do get.
I'm that book nerd. I'm that like this book is better.
Like I agree. The book I read the books way after I saw the movies the first time, and the extended cuts and everything. But the books are better. Seeing a lot of scenes go by in the books that I was like, oh man, I would have loved to see that in the movies. But the movie standing alone tell such an awesome story that you cannot deny that there is a lot of genius that went into it.
Yeah. And the fact that he did portray Tolkien's view of it. It wasn't they were very careful to take into account the way Tolkien wrote it and Tolkien's perspective on life, as well as the book itself. They were very, very big on that. None of them were in it. It wasn't about what they had to put in the film. It's about Tolkien's vision.
I got a chance to I was a Robert Jordan fan. A friend of mine turned me on to Robert Jordan and to start reading the stuff. And when they did the Dark Tower, I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. Like Idris, why are you doing this to me? Idris and McConaughey, why?
But you see, I haven't read any of that. Yeah. So I watched that film and I was entertained.
Yeah.
I was the normie on that.
Sometimes there's a benefit to not knowing.
He got me reading that, and he got me reading the Dark Tower stories from Stephen King. And that's when I left that whole part out. But I remember getting excited for that. Thematically, though,
Isn't Jordan Wheel of Time?
Yeah.
They're working on that right now.
Prepare to watch me. Prepare to watch me have a bunch of aneurysms on screen. Like, as it shows, I'll become more and more unhinged as I hear more news from it, and I'll stop. I'll stop making appearances on my own shows. It'll be great.
More unhinged.
They've destroyed my book.
Having said that, though, and Russ, you mentioned coming back to source material. Source material is always the same. I thought about that, and I got I know we got to get out of here, but before we do leave, I wanted to say that I was kicked out of a Facebook group this week.
Oh no! What did you do?
A comic book Facebook group because I had made mention of that I know that I'm excited to see people actors working. That's always a good thing. But remember that you have to remember when they're pandering to you, because the source material is always the same. Randy said a bunch of times, they make these movies and Marvel, for some reason, will change. There's no synergy between the companies, apparently. if I know I'm making an Iron Man movie and it's going to increase interest in Iron Man, then I want Tony Stark in the comics. When people leave the cinema, they should be able to go to the comic store.
That's never been like
that.
And for some reason, that's when
it used to be like that back when Burton's Batman came
out.
out.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and you got kicked out of a group for that thought process.
Well, yeah, because my thing was, but here's the thing: you cast this character, and you make this character, you change this character's nationality, your race, or whatever, and you're like, yay, that's a win for us. No, it's not, because that character in the comic is still a white person, or still whatever it is, and that representation stops. So if that's what you were looking for, you go back to when they go back to the comic, they're not gonna find it. Instead, what they could have did was spent that money and brought a character that doesn't have a film icon, Static Shock, a proper Black Lightning. They could have did that, but no, they're gonna take Superman, make him black. But when my kid sees that Superman film and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna go pick up a Superman comic," he's gonna go find a regular Clark Kent. He's not gonna find that movie version again.
So why were you kicked out of the group?
Because of that.
Just for holding that opinion.
Because he wasn't pushing the narrative that tokenism is representation.
Well, the group isn't worth keeping.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh no. I was.
If they can't think about other people's opinions and see it as an opinion rather than as an abuse, then they're not worth speaking to.
It's my similar hatred for the term strong female character, and like the way and the way like a lot of creators like really just it's like as long as it's just right there, that it's like it's a strong female character because I said so, not because she's actual character proving herself.
The strong female character these days equals putting a woman in a character that's actually a guy.
Right. It's the honorary guy. It's the Captain Marvel types. That's the reason why it was like I had such a visceral reaction to that. Like I didn't watch the movie, but just seeing the clips, it's like, that's fucking
the perfect example in my view. I mean, there's lots of examples, but a perfect example of a strong female character exhibiting female aspects and at the same time being kick-ass is someone like Ripley from Aliens.
Right. Yeah.
Where
exactly.
There was the mothering aspect.
Yeah.
There was the feminine aspect. The fact that she was up against another woman as well as it was effectively it was a female.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing, and she didn't. It was okay for her to learn something from Hicks.
Yeah.
Hicks was obviously an excellent soldier. Okay, and if it was 1-on-1, who'd win? Okay, those are the facts. But the fact that he was prepared to entrust her, that he was going to follow her a drop of a hat because he knew she knew what she was talking about. I mean, all these aspects, all these strong aspects, strong female aspects. That's what makes a great character.
Right. Yeah.
A great female character, not just saying, okay, well, let's just get them to say everything that the guy would say and just have them with a tight costume on.
It's just like they, like in The Force Awakens, Finn was originally supposed to be a white character.
Yeah.
And all they did was like, okay, so now it's John Boyega. But as what I read was that they didn't change a lot of the aspects of the character originally. So when he announces that he works in sanitation, everybody in the theater cringed. It's like, oh, really? The one black guy in Star Wars is the janitor.
and I'm pretty sure.
You didn't think about that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when he was white, they were going to go somewhere with that force sensitivity. But
no. I'm sure the story would have been completely different if he no, because J.J. Abrams had to fight Kathleen Kennedy to cast John Boyega, and all of a sudden, the second they have John Boyega, and there all of a sudden the story changes.
See, that was the fact, so he was a great character in the first film.
All the characters were great. They were just wasted.
Such a promising character in that first film, and you looked past the fact that all it was just retreading old ground from a story perspective, plot perspective, and you thought, no, this could be something. This could go somewhere. and then they just threw him away.
Yeah.
And the fact that over the past 5-6 years we've seen all this virtue signaling from large corporates about about racial integrity,
and that's what that is
for characters and for actors and what have you, and that's effectively what they were. They were guilty of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, okay, this guy's really good. Oh, and by the way, he's quite a good character actor as well. I mean, John Boyega he's good on screen.
Yeah.
He's good on screen. He's he's fun to watch and all the rest of it. He played the part really well. Let's lean into it, see what we can get out of him. No, they just trashed him.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole sort of like, this is the first time we've had a black superhero on film. It's like, no, Blade. No.
Right, exactly.
And by the way,
put respect on that name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear respect on that name, I think about it.
From a martial arts perspective as well, he's just he's fantastic. I love him.
Yeah. That movie holds up.
It does. And when he was in Demolition Man, it was like he's just brilliant in that. Absolutely.
Yes, he is. Yep.
What were you gonna say, Randy? I'm sorry.
Nothing. I was just going to remark about Marv's comment here. The same with Nick Fury. I'm okay with black characters. Blade is one of my favorites.
Nick Fury was,
might be an exception to that rule because he was made to be Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
I don't think he was designed to be black.
Yeah,
it's like, who would make
specifically?
Somebody sat up there and said, would make a kick-ass Nick Fury? It's Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, he's black, so let's go.
Yeah,
and the Ultimate books.
Yeah,
but didn't they make him the son of the original Nick Fury?
What they did was now they created a son who's now taking over the role in the regular 616 comics, so they can bring that more in line with the movie. So he's Nick Fury Jr.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny they were able to bring Miles over. I don't know why they doesn't bring that Nick Fury. Well, I guess he died too. So anyway, the point is, it's sorry, spoiler alert, guys. But Ultimate Line's been over for years. So,
well, the moral of the story is that Variant got kicked out of a Facebook group by not following protocol.
Variant got kicked out of a Facebook group for not being black enough.
Right? Exactly. That's a whole. That's not my conversation.
My blurred brethren and sisters have turned against me and said, "You can't think. That's wrong. Think.
Possibly have a different opinion.
That's problematic.
Yeah, that's problematic, and my attitude is sour.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, and you wear too much eye makeup.
Yeah.
But Dan, when you were 19, you were cute.
Yeah. When I was 17, I was adorable when I was 17. You know what's funny is that I told this before, but I used to get hit on by dudes when I had my hair like that, and they thought I was a girl. I was like, oh, this sucks. Now I still walk in stores with my wife, and someone will be like, "Excuse me, ladies." I'm like, "Is it because I have tits? Is that what it is?"
Oh my!
I used to get hit on because I looked like a guy.
Yeah.
By other guys.
Oh no!
Oh.
Well, hey.
I mean,
I was pretty back then.
Yeah, says race gender swapping is such a stupid way to try and introduce diversity. It's basically a cheap and easy way, lazy is what it is. Yeah. Cheap and easy way for something to appear woke.
And is
it good original characters you want actual diversity.
It's like I don't.
It's soft bigotry
if you want.
Yeah, it really is because
it's soft bigotry.
It's
That's
them
what
telling you that you're not good enough to have your own character.
Without a doubt.
And also it's like I don't want aspects of my personality just narrowed down to a checklist that a corporation has decided, we can monetize. Mm-hmm. It's like that no, again.
But I don't understand.
Really makes me feel like a person.
I don't understand why this has happened in the way that it has.
Yeah.
Because it's like when Blade came out, I didn't think, he's black.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I just went and watched Blade, and it was a kick-ass film. And Wesley Snipes is a superb martial artist, and I love watching him. Yeah. Passenger 57, I loved that film. And it's like it never occurred to me. It didn't. Why is it now something that occurs to people?
I was disappointed in Blade when I seen it, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, go on.
I thought you were gonna say the only problem you had, but you didn't. I went to that theater, I sat down, and I fully expected to hear Wesley Snipes butcher a British accent.
Oh,
and he did not.
Is Blade originally British?
He's supposed to be British, and he was. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, not for nothing though. I'm completely ride or die for for Constantine, the Keanu Reeves Constantine.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I
like that film.
Yes,
that is cultural appropriation, and I'm not happy about it.
You know that they turned him into an Angelino instead of British.
Ew. Keanu Reeves, Constantine.
Varian ducked out because he saw Sugar Chris wrote in. Varian wears eye makeup.
I saw that
every day.
I do.
It's beautiful.
It's called guy liner.
It matches your red dress.
Yeah.
It's called guy liner.
It's called guy liner.
Guy liner.
Yeah. It's very sexy. It's very sexy. Everyone's doing it. You'll be doing it next year. You'll see. I'm ahead of the curve.
Mike, Jimmy, tell us how we can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at @and_ents, like the three people. You can find me on Facebook under Mike Jimmy Lorsha de Bruin or Fairies and Ents. In 2 weeks, Live on Quora number 4 is going to go live with the ladies over at Raging AVC on YouTube, where we're going to launch the Indiegogo campaign, and you will be able to get an exclusive print if you back during that stream. Not only that, but if you sign up to the Indiegogo campaign right now, you're going to get 30 to 40% off on every physical perk that I have.
Oh, cool.
Do it now.
Do it now.
So be sure to check it out. It's a unique world build, and off to the next one.
Sweet. And again, where can they find you? At Jim and dash Ents.
@and_ents.
There you go.
Oh, down the Pot Cafe.
Oh, and one little thing, because I see Bristolian Dave right now. Twisted Fairy Tales, which I am going to be drawing a story in, is going to go live on Monday on, I think, 8 p.m. GMT. And 8 p.m. UK time. And there's going to be a lot of stories. I think we're up to 100 pages or something right now. So check it out.
Cool.
I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be awesome.
Great. Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find. I'm not down the Pot Cafe. I don't go to such places. You need to buy more books that look like this.
Damn straight.
Hang on.
Damn straight.
More books that look like that.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, books that look like this.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
To buy this book. Right. Okay. Yeah. You can find me at russleach.com or at comicbookblackbelt.com. You can find me on YouTube as Comic Book Black Belt, where you'll see my process into how I produce my pages. I'm on live on a Monday night. If you want to see something happen, I never know what it's going to be. It's going to be digital penciling. It might be traditional inking. Could be anything. I'm also out live on a Thursday. I'm allowed out on a Thursday. Sometimes with the Indie Vault guys over here, and sometimes on Fulton Land. You can find me there with Joe Fulton, who is the creator of Outliers, which is the project I'm on at the moment. You can also find out about my book, Only Death Can Save Us, at onlydeathcansavus.com. Okay, you can sign up for my email lists at all of my websites. And please do, so that I can tell you about the second book, which will be coming later on in this year. And you can still buy yourself a copy of this book, which is currently in demand, but not for much longer. I'm shutting it down on the 2nd of July. And then after that, you'll only be able to get it in floppy form from Arrow Comics. There will be some very special perks in the second campaign for the second book, which will include some of those comics, because I'm going to get some, and there's going to be a catch-up perk, and there will be original artwork for sale on there and signed copies. So check it out, onlydeathcansavus.com, and you can find me in all the usual places, Twitter and the Fleece Book and places like that, where lots of people say silly things to each other. And ban you from groups.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ban you from groups. Daphne, how can folks find you?
Well, you can find your problematic fave at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I mostly post to Facebook if you're into seeing sketches and current work in progress. And I'm also on YouTube, where I kind of sort of do weekly live streams, but I'm definitely going to do one this Wednesday because it's going to be my countdown show on my Kickstarter as it ends on June 2nd. It's already June 2nd. And you can also read the first 5 issues of Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn in its original black and white format. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a Lord of the Rings adventure with less parrot noises, you can check out Tall Tales online.com, TAILS, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter while you're there so you get info on all our future campaigns.
And back up the chat line, Marvi says, Varian, you must create Best Smile Award and give it to Daphne. She gives the best honest laugh I've ever seen on live streams.
Obrigado, rapaz.
I'll create that award. I can just create some awards. I'm told that's how you do it. You just create an award.
Just create an award and
whatever. Yeah, make it specific.
Flattery gets you everywhere.
There we go. Varian, how can folks find you?
Oh, they can find me today doing Liberty work. I'm the Liberty superhero. See my cape?
Oh,
that's
yeah. So
are you doing $4,000? Are you doing $4,000 worth of Liberty work?
4,500 for Liberty work. 4,500 for Liberty work. Yeah. It's no, I'll be doing that today, and look up Liberty Entertainment Distribution Group, LEDG.US. Find me on Twitter at KYD_V. Oh, someone's driving.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. And then whenwewrite.com. Check out my publishing company, lastcallcomics.com. Where else? IndieVote.com. IndieVote Radio, IndieVote TV, IndieVote Radio. Right now, we got as high as 62,000. We are currently at 61. So thank you very much. 62,000 listening. And don't forget, IndieVote Awards, 111 days away.
Ooh. But who's counting?
Yeah, not me. I got a counter right here.
Coming on us like a steamroller.
Yeah. I'm counting. And then, of course, Liberty. I'm sorry, IndieVote.com. And then IndieVoteAwards.com, all that good stuff there for you folks. Come on over, check it out. IndieVoteAwards.com. Submit your book. Getting a lot of submissions last week. Ridiculous. Just a lot of talent out there. So it's going to be very hard for our judges to be picking these, sorting through these books. But we're excited to have them do that. And then IndieVote.com. The place to find indie comic news. If the news ain't there, it ain't worth news. It ain't the news if it's not there. That's it. Where the buzz starts. Randy and I'll be back Thursday. Tuesday.
That's right, Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll be back Tuesday for Live Wire. And then it came from Webtoon this week as we're reformatting the show, figuring out some different things we're gonna reboot the show. Reboot needs to be redone. Yes, even the bird agrees. Even the bird agrees. So but I'll be doing lots of Liberty work today. I got on my Liberty cape, which I was told for adults, but I think they meant adults that are very short because this thing really covers my butt. I was told to build a goods, guys. This told me this cape was gonna be. It says for adults.
Does it say Liberty cape on it?
No,
patriotic
cape. Yeah, patriotic cape.
Patriotic cape.
Yeah, and has a little rough sketch down there of feet, and I'm like, no,
that's a rough sketch on
it. And I'm short, so you guys you have to understand this cape is short. So yeah, this cape is not
with guy liner.
And they didn't come with guy liner, no, but this cape is
It's like you can
There's the end of it right there.
Yeah.
So it's like if I was Robin maybe, and Batman wanted to see the bottom of my tush.
Like patriotic towel.
But yeah, that's what I'll be today. So feel free to pop in and say hi. I might do some drawing. I don't know. Randy,
good. Folks, you can find me at on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Twitter under Randy Zimm. We are spreading Arrow Comics 4.0 all over the interwebs.
Yeah.
Go for our link tree just to see where we're at. The Insta is up. The Twitter is up. The Facebook especially is up. The YouTube channel is up and is expecting new content maybe anytime. I want to do a video at least that talks about the releases we have coming out in August here real soon. So hopefully we'll get that up very, very soon. Right now, I'm finishing the print files for the Indie Volt Revolt book in order to get those to the printer at the start of next week. Looking forward to getting that done and underway so that we can get it fulfilled and out and into your hands. We appreciate everybody that backed that campaign greatly, and stuff is heading your way here as soon as possible. So I'm not even sure yet on the exact page count of that book, because I've got a couple other people I'm gonna get a hold of and say, you promised a story. Are you gonna send a story, or is this it? So
so there we go. So even we still get surprise stories.
Oh, I've already put in a couple of surprise stories. So it's gonna be great. So it'll be good. It's going to be a nice thick book. You're going to be real happy that you backed that book. So looking forward to that. Then, like Varian said, we'll be back Tuesday night for Live Wire at 9 p.m. on the Indie Volt Radio Network, your YouTube and Facebook normal hangouts, and Thursday morning, 9 a.m. for the Breakfast Buzz, and then back here again Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Feels like Sunday night. Sunday morning at 9 a.m. again for the Subday Funnies. So is there anything else, Varian?
I think that's it, sir. That's it. I don't have anything else.
We have that. We push that. Liberty Entertainment Distribution, www.ledg.us. Sign up now, publishers and retailers. You're going to see some exciting things worth a lot more than what you've been offered.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Coming. So it's all going to be great, especially if you're a retailer. Liberty is the kind of distributor where you order comics after they're sitting in the warehouse. This isn't a promise or a budget that you have to worry about 3 months down the line. This is buy the books, get the books, sell the books. And if you can't sell the books, then you call Varian up, and there'll be arrangements on some books under the Liberty Pledge.
They can call me up and say, hey, this book isn't selling, and we'll buy them back from you. Or we can trade them in for some other books that you want to try.
This is a distribution company designed to get product in your hands you can sell. So get past the thought that, it's an indie or alternative book. It's going to sit on my stand forever. That's not the problem here. The problem is you wanting to invest in your future clientele and getting them product that they can read and enjoy and be entertained by. Mm-hmm. We're going to be working hard to make product for that market. So stay tuned to Arrow Comics 4.0. Stay tuned to Indie Volt. So, and again, we deeply appreciate all of our radio listeners. Buy indie comics, especially ours. Yes.
Buy indie comics, especially ours. Yes, thank you.
Exactly, Mark.
You guys hang tight too after we end. I want to read you guys something you're gonna love.
Oh no.
Ooh. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's more like
story time.
So that means it's too intense for our regular listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need to run. We'll talk to everyone real soon. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for viewing us. Don't be afraid to hit that like button over on YouTube or here on Facebook. Definitely subscribe to the Indie Volt YouTube channel. We're still hoping for 1,000 subscribers one of these days, and then we'll really have to worry about our content and keeping those YouTube gods pleased. So, but we can also take super chats so Varian can stop complaining about not being able to afford the streaming service.
Then we can be demonetized officially.
If anybody wants to pay for me, they can take over.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Suddenly people will be taking you up on it. Yeah. Yep, and you know how you love to control things. You'll never let it go. So it's all like, I'll take over. Hey, I'll pay you streaming if I get to run things. Yeah.
And for the folks watching on YouTube, ChromeCon is starting in less than half an hour.
There you go. Yeah, I'll be there at 5 o'clock tonight.
Thanks for pointing that out, Mike.
There we go.
They have a whole list of shows later for you to listen to and watch later this afternoon. Remember the immortal words of Super Chicken.
You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred.
No one told me. No one told me.
No one told me.
Yeah.
You knew
No
it was
one
dangerous.
told me it was going to be a chicken.
Fair.
All right, everybody, we're going out the same way we came in with the same long opening. So take care. We'll see you soon. Stay healthy. And as Varian tells everyone, make sure you leave this industry better than the condition that you found it in.
Oh, yes.
Ciao. Tanya.
Take care, everyone.
What you've accomplished.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.